evening, dear listeners. JC here from What an Excellent Day for a Podcast, and we have a special, unholy treat for you this evening. Now, everyone who listens to the show knows my absolute love for what I consider to be the godfather of all horror movies. The one movie that I believe paved the way for what horror is and how it acts today. The first to send waves of panic and fear to all moviegoers. Powerful, shocking, and for this horror nerd, still remains the scariest movie of all time. I'm talking about the iconic The Exorcist. Now, anytime is a good time to discuss this masterpiece, and tonight, dear listeners, I am honored to be joined by Daerth from the Exorcist Reviews YouTube channel. If you're an Exorcist diehard and you seek out amazing and informative content, and you are not yet subscribed to this channel, then I don't know what to tell you. Maybe you should just sprinkle holy water on yourself and attempt your own self-exorcism. Daerth, appreciate you coming on the channel, man. Honored, man. Thank you.
I wish I had the talent that you have, where you could just like spout it out.
Yeah,
I'm not
I
quite
write
like
all
that.
the scripts and the intros, man.
Oh, okay.
I get into that. So yeah, man. Listen, I'm happy that you came on the channel, cut it up a little bit about The Exorcist. I guess my first question is, when did your love for The Exorcist begin? When was that first experience? That first experience that you had, and how it impacted you?
I think I was like just becoming a teenager, and you hear about the film. It was probably back maybe late 70s. I'm the youngest out of 6, and so pretty much everyone else had seen it.
Okay.
It had my curiosity going up. Now I grew up more on like the Hammer films.
Oh, okay.
It wasn't as bad, right? You got a little blood in the
Hammer,
shots and all that, right? But then I can't remember if I bought the book first or had seen the film before that. I'm pretty sure I bought the book first. It was like the only book I ever read twice.
Okay.
I thought it was engrossing. You just get sucked into the novel and just. Yeah. So I kind of expected some of the scenes. I just didn't know how it was going to play out. And I used to think I was 9 at the time, but I think I was 9 when I bought the book. I think it was one of those little, where was it? We called them quick stops.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Just like right next door to the gas station, they'd have like variety of stuff back then.
That's where you used to find my Fangoria magazines. That's where I used to find my back in the day, man.
But so I had seen the film. I can't remember if it was the TV broadcast, or I'm pretty sure it wasn't VHS, because the video was like maybe 1980 when I saw it, something like that. So I was like about 12 or 13. And, even at that age, it made an impact on me. So it pretty much scared shit out of me.
Now, did you see the cut version first, like on regular TV? You said,
I don't think so, because I do remember the crucifix scene, and that's what really threw me.
Okay.
And bad part about it is, even after reading the novel, I couldn't piece everything together. It's just that shock, that initial shock.
Yeah, absolutely.
Going in there. And so for years, I went through this whole phase where even though I slept in the dark, I'd always see her face in my head at night. And so I'd have nightmares about it for years. And then I'd put I had one of those little AM FM radios, the little battery operated jobbies, and used to sleep with that on, trying to drown out that image, focus on something else.
Sure.
I'd have the radio playing and try to fall asleep that way. But yeah, I had nightmares before on that. And then I think it was high school. I was about 16. I was able to get my own membership, video membership.
Okay.
Of course, the first video that I checked out was The Exorcist, and I watched that till the cows came home, and got really obsessed with it for a while, and had taken an independent writing class, and I decided to write as a project what happened between the time Karis left the room and came back up the stairs to find Marin dead on the was it the floor in the novel? I can't remember.
Yeah, I think it was.
But I know it was across the bed in the film, and then he brought him down. But yeah, I wrote that. I wish I could find it now. I don't know what happened to it. But it was like years back.
Yeah, fill in the gap on that scene, right?
84 or something like that. And I got an A- on it and a big yes. It was the first time I was able to use obscenities in one of my projects. So of course it's going to be a big deal, right?
That's awesome.
But
Yeah, for me, I actually saw The Exorcist. I was by my cousin's house, and I must have been 12 or 13 years old. And we were hanging out, and we went down, and my cousin had this like kind of little theater room, and in the closet she had a
oh, cool.
ton of VHS tapes,
Okay.
right? So, and they had The Exorcist, and it was like there was like four of us that just when we weren't allowed to do this shit, but we plopped it on, man, and it was probably the worst fucking mistake that I've ever made, man, because I watched that movie and I was shocked, man. I was just so friggin' scared. To your point, like a week straight, laying in bed, I had to keep the nightlight on, and every time I turned over, I just thought her face was just going to be staring at me on the
Oh
other
yeah.
side. And it scared the living shit. No 12-year-old should be watching that movie. But, and from there, it was just like, I grew up Catholic, Christian, in a household like that. So I believed in this shit. And as I got older and just got into it, I started just like, looking into the true story, right? The Ronald Doe
Mhm.
story, right? And that, based on the lad he based it on in 1949. So, and, to this day, man, this movie still fucking stands up. So,
So let me go ahead and
yeah.
continue a little bit because I'm going to get into what kind of rekindled the whole Exorcist thing for me. Uh, um, it all started with the announcement of the show, the Fox TV
Oh, yeah.
program,
Which
and
props was pretty
I,
good.
I wasn't a fan.
The first
I was
season.
not a fan, and I'll tell you why.
Okay.
Probably back early 2000s, Blatty mentioned doing a miniseries. Now, the miniseries was supposed to be the book. That's what I thought this TV program was going to be, and it wasn't. And I was on a different YouTube channel at the time, and I started ranting about it. It's like, what is this? And so I started following all the episodes and giving a review on that, and they weren't the best reviews, just because of where I could see where they were breaking canon. And so I did that, and that started my Exorcist Reviews channel. I just went ahead and started, because after looking into a few things concerning, say, dates and whatnot, in between the novel and the show, and whether they were following the film or whether they were following the novel, I kind of got in this. I jumped into a rabbit hole, and it kept going down, basically, when it came to The Exorcist and how it was made,
Okay.
the background, and all this.
Okay.
So yeah, that led up to Reagan's Room and Exorcist Reviews.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm still digging.
Dude, let me tell you, I love your channel, man. I love your channel. I've been a subscriber for a while. That's why I hit you
Oh,
up
that's
on
cool
it.
to know.
Yeah, and I'm like, man, I gotta kind of connect with this guy and just talk some horror, talk some Exorcist with you, because for my show there's four of us, and anytime I can talk about The Exorcist or throw something out, I'm the resident Exorcist fan, and I love your channel. I like some of your videos. The one with Carl on the floor.
Mm-hmm.
Like when I say informative, what's that?
Which one?
It was the one. It was a short that I was watching, but I never even saw, like, I didn't even never connected that. I never saw like the hand and the foot there, and that was Carl during the crucifix scene, and so that was pretty cool. Just kind of learning that from your channel, and then the silent film that you did. With
I'm actually working on another one too.
That was awesome, man. And she looks fucking even more terrifying in black and white.
I know. I kept hearing that.
So, I could only imagine, like The Exorcist again. It's iconic, but I don't think there's ever been another movie that has been released into theaters and had the impact that movie had. I mean, I sometimes wish I can get in a time machine and go back to '73 and see it for the first time with that crowd and experience, the long lines of people that were waiting for that movie. And
I
just,
thought about that too.
It would have been so cool. Like, I don't think I would have fainted. I don't think I would have passed out. And some of that is like, hey, to each their own. Everybody gets impacted a certain way. But fuck, man, it would have been awesome to experience that with that type of audience and how shocking it was. I mean, the shit you saw up on that screen, man, that wasn't, that's why I say it paves the way. That you've never seen that before, right? That that pushed the envelope as far as you could push it, man. And that's why it still stands up today.
Do you collect any books or periodicals on The Exorcist?
I have a few
Do you have any?
books. I have a few books, but mostly it's I watch a ton of documentaries, man.
Right.
Love the Mark Commode's the Fear of God. That one is iconic, right? That's a great one. I love the recent one that just came out, the Untold Story that was dropped this past year.
I'd still have to watch that one. I've got it
Yeah,
on DVD.
it, it was good. It was good. It was. I mean, kind of seen a lot of it. It's like it talks about the impact and everything, and there's a ton of content out there about about the impact of this movie. But
Oh yeah.
another one is good. I don't know if you saw it, Leap of Faith
Yeah,
on
I have it.
Shudder. Yeah, that one was really good because that's kind of Friedkin just kind of going through everything, and you learn some things, how he had to motivate Max von Sydow, and to kind of that one scene where he's like, I cashed you out. He had to kind of get up for that one a little bit. And I don't know if he was a believer in God. So it really, he didn't know how to kind of
Well, it's
push
like, what was it? He was Friedkin was saying something about, well, you played Jesus in
Yeah,
this
the greatest
film.
story ever told, right? So he's like, but I played him as a man, I didn't play him
Yeah,
as Jesus, as
right.
God. So he's like, well, fucking play him as a man, and he got that performance out of him. And Friedkin was great with that, right? I mean, he, the gun going off to rattle,
Right.
Jason Miller.
Right. And then you were looking back on how they did stuff old school, back in the 70s,
Nick Smith,
especially.
man.
And yet you get you hear a lot of flack going on about, well, Friedkin did this and he shouldn't have done that, and whatnot, so he shouldn't be shooting guns. But then you look back on, like, say, The French Connection, and he's literally driving into real traffic
Yeah,
for like maybe a couple shots.
yeah,
Nobody brings that up.
yeah, exactly.
Or when they do the whole guerrilla shooting, it's like one example I always think of is it's a movie called Maniac, and I can't remember the actor's name, but I remember they had to park the car. They didn't have any permits. They do the shot where he's standing up on the hood of this car and blows somebody's brains out.
Joe Spinelli. That was Joe Spinelli.
Okay, so
he
the
was in
movie I'm
Rocky.
talking about.
Yeah, yeah.
And so they had to take off before the cops showed up, right?
Yeah.
And I think there was something mentioned, and I can't remember if it was Friedkin that mentioned it, that they had been doing some shoots at some other some country or somewhat, and to do the shots, they hired somebody to pretend to be the director,
Okay.
so that when they got busted, he went to jail.
Oh. The fall guy, man.
Yeah, he was a
Shit.
fall guy.
Hope he got paid a lot of money for that shit.
So this is one of the things that really got me interested in The Exorcist. Not so much the film, but what was going on with the time and with Blatty, because so much of Blatty is in that Father Karras character.
Yeah.
And just talking with Mike, it was thought, some people thought, okay, other than Chris McNeil being modeled after Shirley MacLaine, a lot of people attached the Reagan character to her daughter Sachi. But then talking with Mike Blatty about it, he says that he thinks it reflects his sister Mary Jo, and what she went through when her dad and her mom were going through a divorce. That maybe subconsciously he carried it and put it in the book.
Yeah.
Because basically it's like Blatty was writing about the things that he knew.
Yeah.
So you look back on what was going on in his life, you kind of get a better perspective of what's going on in the book, because it's kind of like he's just kind of self-reflecting, inserting himself into the story, and it's more of his story than it is, it's just almost like the whole Roland Doe situation is just the background.
Yeah.
And like him being tested in a way. That's the way I see it. I really don't see it as a horror film, but it just falls right into that. It falls into that category too well.
Yeah.
And where else are you going to put it?
Yeah. Yeah. So are you a believer of demonic possession? Like, do you believe that exists? Do you believe that can
I try
happen?
not to.
Like I said, that fucking Ouija board,
I'd be
man.
so paranoid in this room if that was the case. If you look over to my display case, I've got. Let me bring it over. Hold on. I didn't wear anything Exorcist. Come on.
I always wear Exorcist. I have it on my arm.
That's about as close as I could get to what she had in her hand.
That is great. That is awesome. I wish I had bought that Spirit Halloween Reagan, man. I fucking procrastinated on it, and I didn't, because I didn't. How do you
Bad
think
thing
it
about
looks?
Spirit of Halloween, a lot of times, the things they sell on there, they're no longer available later on. You have to go on eBay to go search them
Yeah,
out and buy them. So I'm not sure what that's all about. I'm sure they gotta like, okay, stop making this or
yeah, yeah.
something.
It went out of stock too. I was all,
Sure.
we with my fellow horror nerds that we do there's four of us that do the show. We talk about those YOLO moments because we go to a ton of fucking horror conventions and everything. And
Mm-hmm.
I actually got the one that you see behind. I think you have it too because you showed it in your video. The resin statue, the recent one from Orange Studios of Reagan in the bed.
Mm. Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah. So that one was like $200 when I
Yeah.
saw it at the convention. It was a really good price now. And
You're talking about like the one I got like on my unboxing.
yes,
I did an unboxing.
yeah,
Yeah.
you did.
I
You did
also
do
got
an
that
unboxing.
Trick or Treat Studio statue just came in, and
Oh
I'm
man.
gonna do an unboxing of that as soon as I get it go to my post
Oh
office.
shit, man. So they are shipping that then, right? Because I know that
Yeah,
was on
they've got those going out January.
Oh man, man. You didn't get it yet?
Well, it's sitting in my post
Oh,
office
okay.
box.
Damn, man. I
So it's
gotta wait
like,
for your unboxing show then.
yeah, it takes a while. I gotta get set up camera and all that.
I
So.
got you. I got you.
Oh, I do like your thing display there with
Oh
the
yeah,
head.
yeah.
Yeah, I love the thing.
I'm all
That's
horror,
awesome.
man. This is my horror man cave. Like I said, The Exorcist it's got I just got the Trick or Treat mask just recently, so
Yeah, I saw that.
I'm trying to see if I can. I don't know if you ever see Hell House. It's a found
Yes.
footage movie. Hell, so this fucking clown right here is from the movie. So I want to do something with Reagan too. Maybe just get like another dummy type that I could pose and get her nightgown on and just have her sit in the corner somewhere. But and then I have all this.
Oh, nice.
So I'm not Reagan. I got Pazuzu on the back. I got the planchette that says Captain Howdy. Yes or no says yes. And then I got the other scene.
Upside down.
Yep. And then this whole piece right here. So this entire sleeve is devoted.
You should. What are you on? What is it? Exorcist Archive on Facebook.
No, not on Facebook.
You should, if you ever join on there,
Okay.
show off that sleeve. That is awesome.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of collectible stuff being shown on there.
Okay.
I got some stuff on there, but definitely the sleeve. Do a video.
Yeah, I should, man. I should. Well, listen, maybe the sleeve will reach many listeners. Both yours and mine. So
Hey, if I get you on my show, I'll have you show off the sleeve again. So
yeah.
so
No,
everybody else can see
this
it. That's
piece
pretty
though
awesome.
right here is my favorite.
So what do you got?
man.
What do you got on the other arm? You got looks
On
like
the other
you
arm, I got
got,
Art the Clown,
yeah.
and then I have Michael Myers.
Okay. Then you got
Blair,
Jason on your
Blair
bicep.
Witch, the Blair Witch sticks. I got Jason. And
Jason
then
on my bicep.
I have Samara from The Ring,
Oh yeah. Yep.
and then
Jaws. I like that. Coming right out of your armpit.
yeah.
That's
So
funny.
I just finished both sleeves just recently, and I want to start on my leg.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. How much does that run? Say for like your arm. That's a lot of money put in.
Yeah,
That's
but
an
both are.
investment.
I mean, it was probably a good 14 grand, 15 grand
Wow.
all in for both.
Wow. Did
Yeah,
you want to
but
plug
my
anybody that did the work? Is it
My
the same
tattoo
person?
artist, Tommy Boy Fame, in Riversdale, New Jersey, man. He's great, man. He did all my art, and he loved to do it because no one is wild and crazy enough to go to the tattoo, shop and say, hey, I want you to put this, on my arm, and I'm just gonna strictly stick with horror. And he was all jazzed up to do it. So, this
awesome.
piece up here was my first piece. And then the Reagan was my second, but this is my favorite, man. He just fucking killed it. So
Nice.
yeah. So
It's funny the clown that you had brought up, the Hell House one. He kind of looks like, to me, just the figure there looks like Uncle Fester trying to be the Terrifier clown.
yeah, it
Trying to be
does, right? Uncle fucking Fester, I love it. Yeah, I love Hell House, man. I actually where I live, I live in Jersey, but I know you're from Alaska, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
That's why we got that 4-hour difference going on.
Yeah. So
Mhm.
so actually where they made the movies Hell House, the first one too, is it's called the Waldorf Estate of Fear. It's an actual haunted attraction.
Right.
that is excuse me, literally like an hour away from me. So I went to, they had this Hell House event, and I went over there, and we were they had the clown in there, and you escape for, and the hotel is exactly the same. I mean, it is, you watch the first movie, you're in each set, the basement and everything. And Stephen Cognetti, who's the director, he was over there. So and he was doing a little Q&A. So I actually got him to come on the show. So I did an interview with him. And you could find it on our What an Excellent Day for a Podcast YouTube channel. But I did an interview with him, and we just talked about the entire franchise. We talked about Origins coming out, but yeah, I'm a big Hell House fan. I love found footage. So let me ask you, did you see the unseen outtakes at the cinema lobby with Paul Davis? Have you seen the recent one where he had a lot of those outtakes? If you haven't,
when did you see him?
This I think it dropped. It was all deleted scenes. Makeup testing with Eileen Dietz for the Captain Howdy.
Right. There's been so many. It's hard to say. I don't know.
Yeah, search it on YouTube. It's cinema lobby with Paul Davis. He actually did a documentary on Beware the Moon for American Werewolf in London.
Mm-hmm.
And he just so many different. It's like 30 minutes long, but it's fucking great, man. It's just like all
I'll
unseen.
look that up.
Outtakes of like the makeup test and everything, and when she was when Chris and Reagan were at her birthday, at Arlington Memorial, so they went to the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier, where Reagan was asking about her mom about why do people have to die and things like that, and they couldn't. I don't think
you want to see something mentioning when you mentioned that. There's a friend of mine that did a YouTube on it and actually got the dub in for that.
Really? Yeah, because they lost the sound to that.
Right, and I can't. For the life of me, either she had somebody help her do the voice. It's like the ones that I've done so far. I don't know if you've seen the what was it, the William Friedkin 24 engagements.
I don't think I've seen that one.
Okay, I used AI to recreate Friedkin's voice.
Okay.
In this interview for AFI, and he's talking about what he went through with all these different theaters when they opened up The Exorcist, correcting their screens and lighting and all this, and just got me thinking, how many directors are going to go out there and do that now?
Yeah,
you probably wouldn't have seen anyone. He wanted to make sure everybody could see it.
Exactly.
He filmed it. He wanted to make sure everybody saw this thing. So I think he put a lot of work into not only making the film but promoting it.
Yeah. So let me ask you this question: the OG or the version you've never seen before?
No, OG.
OG for you?
Yep. And it's funny because anytime I run into anybody else, it's whatever version they had seen for the first time. It's like I grew up on the 2000 version, so I like this one better.
Yeah.
I'm not a big fan of I think the images that were added are like overkill. I really don't see Friedkin putting those in. If it more like studio saying something about it. It's a hard call, but to me, it's kind of like just for the benefit of the audience. And the example I usually use is, say, the latest Amityville film, the one with Ryan Reynolds. I think that's who was in it.
I was going to say the latest. They make like Amityville.
I know, it's like every other
Jaws
year
movies now and shit.
But the one with him in it, and the one that really stands out is there's a scene where the kid's brushing his teeth, and then all of a sudden you see these figures behind him with all kind of stuff dripping out of their mouth and whatnot. And it's like, okay, this was for the benefit of the audience. This kid didn't see this.
Yeah.
It's not like anything he's actually experiencing in the mirror. He's still just standing there, brushing my teeth, And so you see all these images being flashed. And it's just, why? And they weren't really subliminal. You always hear about the 25th frame where you can't see it, but you knew something was there. I think something like Hereditary did a better job when it came to that kind of imagery.
Yeah,
it's like it's like you're not sure what you're seeing. It's like I think that there was a scene where the grandmother or somebody was sitting in a room. Yeah, she was already passed on, and I can't remember who it was, but the lights kind of were adjusted, and it's like, you something there. It's almost like more a peripheral thing.
Yeah. Even the mom on the ceiling. Even the mom like in the corner of the ceiling. That
crawling away. And, definitely.
That was great.
I would. What was the person that did that film?
That was Ari Aster. Yeah.
I probably would have had him do an Exorcist film.
So
either that or Eggers.
Yeah. Are you excited about Flanagan? Mike Flanagan.
I'm not a big fan of what Blumhouse has been doing. I mean, it's one of those make them quick, make them cheap.
Oh yeah, wait.
I'm not a big fan of that.
Let me pause you right there. Joe T. Joe T. is someone that does the show with me. He shits on Blumhouse every chance he gets. He is not a fan. So continue. Sorry to interrupt you.
I mean, this just brings us right back to Believer, and I could keep ranting about Believer.
Yeah, my God,
David
man.
Gordon Green took that the wrong direction.
The fucking abomination.
The direction, if you can even call it a direction. You want an abomination here? Let me show you something. Don't buy this book. Don't buy this book.
David Gordon Green's journey
made into a book.
Holy shit!
Bull crap.
What is it? What is he telling you? How to make the best Halloween ends and Exorcist?
No, it's somebody
movie?
who does travel log books or whatnot that wrote this.
Okay.
And if you look into some of my community posts on my channel, I've got some quotes from this person saying how successful this movie is going to be, and put David Gordon Green as one of the best horror directors and blah blah blah. Where did you get that? It's a serious elongated puff piece turned into a book. That's all it is.
Oh my God.
And you don't learn anything.
Yeah. Listen, for me,
don't buy it.
For me, the Exorcist segment in Scary Movie 2 was fucking better than David Gordon Green's Exorcist Believer.
I can believe it, yeah.
That's where I stand, man.
Yeah.
That movie was
Repossessed.
Just Repossessed.
It's almost like Repossessed was this rebooted.
How do I find that movie, man? Is that movie anywhere? I do not own
Where do you want it? Do you want a copy? You know
like
where I got mine?
Where'd you get yours?
Linda Blair's World Heart Foundation.
Really?
Yeah, she's got some great stuff, and I'm a big promoter of that. It's like if I can get her on my YouTube,
okay,
we'll probably be talking about that halfway, just kind of keep her in check, because I know she's probably tired of talking The Exorcist.
Yeah, she does
but
great
things. But then
if
if I get talking into like the whole World Heart Foundation, because there's a lot of great stuff on her website. She does a lot of sign stuff. I got a copy of Possessed, and she signed it, and so now I got a copy of Repossessed. So
how many times did you meet Linda Blair?
I haven't.
Oh, you've never met Linda Blair?
Yeah, I can't go down there, all the time. Last place I went was Georgetown, and that cost me some bucks.
I saw your stairs video. I saw your recent when you did a little some video on the stairs and the house and everything there. So I just recently watched that one. I actually have because I'm in Jersey, so I have a for my job, I have a service center in Baltimore. And I found out one day that was like, I was talking about the Exorcist steps, and I'm like, I got to go, I got to make it down there when I'm down here on an overnight. And one of my workers like, yeah, like it's literally 40 minutes from here. I'm like, fuck. So I went, and I was like a kid in a fucking candy store. I ran up those stairs, and my ass was like dead. I was exhausted. I couldn't breathe. Never again.
Really?
Oh, man.
I did that, and it was like it was the only time it affected me was by the time I got to maybe the top flight.
Yeah.
I started
you, my friend,
down.
is better shape than I am. Then
I don't know about that.
I work out with weights. I don't do cardio. Cardio is a whole different thing. So, but
if you're being chased by something, then you would have ran up those steps.
Listen, I
felt it till way later.
Yeah.
But one thing about the steps that got me was like the position of the house.
I saw that.
The long. I don't know what they call it, but whatever it is that they've got the bicycle rack on.
Yeah.
And then where the flight of steps really drops.
You had to slingshot him out.
Yeah, something. He'd have to back up in the hallway and come running, and then throw himself out that window a little further than what seemed in reality what he would have had to actually do to actually get down there. And then when I got to the bottom of the steps, I didn't realize that M Street was way across a parking lot.
Yeah.
You're watching the film, you've never been there, you think, oh, M Street's right there. No, it's not.
No.
It's like that's where the old gas station was.
Yeah.
And I always wondered where that gas station was. I thought, I got the impression that the gas station in the scene where they're all running toward where Father Karras was, someone's falling down the steps there, that thing. And you see these people running toward where he's landed. and it's just right next to the steps. I thought it was maybe across the street or something because of the way the shot was done. I thought the street was right there. I had no clue.
Yeah.
So I did a walkthrough. I walked all the way to M Street, and then I looked back and I took a picture and I said, okay, I'm standing here, and the steps are way back there, you know, and it kind of corrects your perspective on things. And it's like when I'd seen the house for the first time, I was like, you know, and I don't mean the extension when I say this, but for some reason I had thought the house was bigger.
I did too. I did too when I first saw it.
And people kept posting comments, well, that's because they built, you know, like they're going to tell me something new. Put this extension on it and all this whatnot, right? I was like, no, that's not what I mean. I thought the house was going to be a lot bigger. I can't explain it, you know, just a little bit more robust or something. And it had me curious what the backyard looked like. And I'm trying to look, you know, over the fence and whatnot and get a good shot. And I couldn't. And they have this like this thing that kind of extends out. And I couldn't tell if what it was a small pool in the back, but then everything just kind of plummets. And then that got me thinking, and even Mike Blatty brought it up, and I did a short on it, where Richard Burton and
I saw that
Linda Blair walking. Where are they going to go?
Where are they going?
Just drop right off the face of the earth or something.
Exactly.
They're going to make quite the fall. That's too steep to even consider, you know. And I had no clue there was another house attached to the 3600 Prospect Street. That little house that was right next to it.
Yeah.
And then when you check these out on like Zillow, and they're pricing even the Exorcist house, if we want to call it that, we'll just call it the house on Prospect Street, $4 million for that thing.
Holy shit.
And that little house right next to is like 2.5.
Wow.
It's like, why?
Well, it's because it's iconic. It's like the Amityville Horror House, right? You know, what is that? Yeah, that thing's going for like $1 million. I mean, it's a beautiful home, don't get me wrong, but it's, you know, it's just
crazy.
Yeah, it is. The good thing is that when you went there, you were lucky enough to have the gate open, right?
I'm guessing maybe they pulled out or something.
Yeah, so you had the whole side entrance there, where you know where Chris and Reagan are, you know, at the end of the movie and all that. And I had to fucking look over the gate. And
well,
shit,
it bites it bites that they changed out that I don't know what the original fence looked like, you know, but it wasn't definitely wasn't that high fence.
No,
you know, they had the stonework and the metal fencing, and to me it made it look way more open, and I wish they would have kept that. But I don't know, maybe they were having people wander back there because you see the keep out sign all of a sudden that popped up on that big gate, and maybe the person left for the day and just left the gate open or something so they could just pull right in. That's my guess. You
know, one of your videos that you did was the scene where she gets slapped, right? Where she's like, you know, she's the doctors come into the room, right? And you were pointing out the times where you could see that, you know, Pazuzu was taking over her body, like when she had that smile on her face, like,
yeah, that's,
you know, like
really
she's ready
weird
to strike out. And then when she absorbed that hit, you know, I've never like those. That's why I love your channel, because it's like you're pointing out these little details and all these little fucking nuggets that I never even looked at or stopped to see. And that was pretty cool.
The weird thing is, it's like, you know, it's not a really weird thing, but, you know, like you have all these other YouTube channels that say like 10 things you didn't know about The Exorcist.
Yeah.
You know, and you hear everything. It's like, okay, I already know this stuff. Tell me something I don't know.
Yeah, they shot off a gun.
What really irked me was I found this one YouTube that copied everything that I mentioned about one of my earlier videos. And it's almost like word for word, but they just had two different people playing off each other on it. It's like, thanks. And they got like way more views than I got, you know, on my channel with the same information I just covered. You know, and it was Who's on Reagan's Floor, you know, and you're looking at, when you're watching the shots, and you know it's in the novel. In the novel, that's one of the first things that Chris sees going in during the crucifix moment is Carl laying on the floor knocked out. And then it's almost like freaking expected us kind of pick up the hints, or he was trying to cut that whole issue out, but use the footage anyway, you know, because he didn't want to bring up the whole Catholic thing with Carl, and it'd probably lead back to, like, you know, the daughter that they had who had the club foot, and, you know, just these little subplots, you know, trimming the subplots. He might have just left in that scene with this I don't know whether it was intentional, but it's funny to think that a lot of people thought, oh no, that's just one of the extras, you know, working on moving the furniture around, but it didn't make any sense. Everybody, if you look at some of these shots, with the actual crew, they're like in tennis shoes and very comfortable casual wear, not a suit with formal shoes. Yeah, that just didn't make sense. And then to come across that photo of the actor on the floor with
Dick Smith,
like
right?
the blood on his, from the Dick Smith book.
Yeah, I didn't even know that Dick
all
Smith.
Things.
Yeah. And you said that was a good book, right? That Dick Smith
It is
book.
a good book. It's got a lot of stuff in it. Here, let me see it.
So is it like just a?
Ta-da!
Oh,
you're not
okay.
You're not just covering The Exorcist.
Nice.
The Exorcist probably like, I think I mentioned 20% of this book. There's a lot of great pictures I had never seen. But then you're also covering a lot of the stuff that you did earlier.
Yeah. What is that? Altered States up there? Is that Altered States up on the top?
Yeah.
Oh man, what a fucking
he
classic
did that one.
movie.
Some people were surprised that he worked on the Godfather makeups.
Yeah.
I thought it's a great book if you find it.
Yeah, I definitely got to check that out, man.
And if anything, and I mentioned that in that video that I did, if you can, go for the hardcover.
Okay.
Oh, also, I don't know if you've seen my top 5 books. Get this book.
Oh.
Get that.
Okay. That's the book, right? That's the novel. This is hardcover.
No.
What is that?
No. This is a print of the screenplay for the miniseries that was never made, and it's something I'm going to try to cover in another video in as much detail as I can without really going all over the place. One thing I can tell you about it is, the in the beginning with the Iraq scene where he almost gets run over by the horse and the woman in the I think it's called a Rukshi.
Yeah. Shamir is like Reagan's look a little bit.
With the old woman in black.
Yeah.
He plays a bigger part in the miniseries.
Oh, okay.
He literally is Death about to run him over.
Oh, wow.
And he ends up, Marin ends up in the miniseries meeting her on the train to Cairo.
Okay.
And sits with her and she talks. She's also spotted by Mary Jo Perrin, the seer that's in the film that doesn't have any lines because there were a lot of the scenes were cut. But I'm also going to bring that up in another video. She sees, since she's like a seer, she's like more apt to pick up on a lot of the more supernatural stuff. She actually sees that dark figure in with the rest of the guests.
Oh, wow.
Breaks away and then she disappears. So that character plays a bigger part in the miniseries than just being that one foreshadowing moment.
And when was this this miniseries supposed to come out?
It was supposed to come out back in the 2000s.
Okay.
And it didn't go anywhere. I mean,
oh man,
Blatty was under the impression, Friedkin was going to direct it and everything, and he said he would, and then somewhere along the lines he backed out of it. And then I think it was Sony that picked it up, and then the trail went cold.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden we've got Fox making this mini series or series. I kind of get the impression they wanted more than just a mini series. They wanted a whole series they could play on.
Yeah. I mean,
it just keep going.
Yeah, I didn't care. I mean, the second season, I liked the first season only because I liked that it connected into the Exorcist universe, right? Gina Davis, is playing Reagan and the mom coming up. So I like the fact that it kind of connected some dots back to the original, but and then the second one just kind of went off the rails a little bit, but
Well, it's funny because I like the second one better than the first one.
Oh, you did? Okay.
It tried too hard to connect on that first one, and a lot of stuff didn't make any sense. And that's what got me started was when Father Tomas was researching the whole exorcism stuff online, and he comes across the Georgetown article, and you're looking at the date. It didn't make any sense. It was March 13th. And I was like, where did they get that from?
Yeah.
So it got me digging. And then what I found out was the dates between the Exorcist novel and the Legion novel don't match. They don't work. One problem Blatty had, and I know Mike doesn't like hearing this, was Blatty couldn't keep his dates straight, and he couldn't, there's no mention of a year, but you can calculate it. The only time there's a year mentioned was when Kinderman was looking into Carl, and at the time he was like a suspect, and they mentioned when he got hired on with Chris McNeil, and it was like 1969 by that reckoning. And so, but you look at the dates, especially when they give days of the week, nothing matches a real calendar. And even Father Karras's age was different between the two novels. In the first novel, he was 46. In Legion, he was only 43 when he died.
Oh.
So it's like,
yeah,
what happened? And with Legion, it followed a real calendar. You could go back in 1983, look up all the dates, and they match, even with the day of the week.
Okay.
In the first novel, they don't. They're close to maybe like 1966, if they were going to match anything. And then came the whole issue with Mother's Day. You know, at the end of toward the end of the novel, before Karras throws himself out the window, to me, it's still Sunday. It's Sunday evening. A lot of people, going on these wikis, these Exorcist wiki or whatever, say it's the 16th, but I still think it's Sunday. And that Sunday, it's implied that it's Mother's Day. But problem is that if it's March, I'm sorry, it wasn't March, it was May 15th, there's no way it could be Mother's Day. It would have been the 9th.
Yeah.
Because it's taking like the second Sunday of the I forgot how that goes. If it's like a full, like the second Sunday of that month. But here's what's really weird. If you've ever seen it's a documentary on Jason Miller called Miller's Tale. You can find it on YouTube.
Okay.
There's a guy who mentions being at the bar when Jason Miller died, sitting at the bar, his favorite bar, and guess when that was? Mother's Day.
Yeah.
Just like in the novel.
Wow. Did you think The Exorcist, like the set and everything, was cursed? I mean, I know that I think on Shudder they had the cursed films and they had the episode.
Yeah, I know they keep talking about that, and I think they just went with the publicity.
Yeah, I mean,
I think it was more word of mouth than anything that really drew people to it, because you get those the old footage of people standing in line talking about, I want to see if it makes me throw up.
Yeah, right.
Okay. That's why I'd want to go, right?
Yeah.
I think there's you had the people that read the novel wanted to see it on the screen, so you get this rendition, and it's not going to be like in the novel.
No.
It's hard enough.
No,
it's
it never really is.
It's like trying to translate Stephen King in a way, especially the whole introspective stuff. And even Stephen King can't direct a film that works. I think he did, what was it? That Maximum Overdrive?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure it was fine for the 80s.
Yeah, it was... I love the 80s, man. Like I said, I grew up in that decade, the horror, because it was all practical effects. It was all, it was just, it was a different style engine back then.
Yeah, I even got into those campy little films, like, what were they called? Ghoulies. The Ghoulies, and the Gremlins takes off, and then the Ghoulies comes out.
Yep.
With all little puppet looking things, or like even Puppet Master with all the little figures.
Yeah. I got some posters right there. You'll see The Beast Within.
Oh yeah, I remember that one.
Remember The Beast Within?
Yeah, I do.
Like, people, when I talk about The Beast Within, people are like, "What the fuck is that?" That movie was the first horror movie that I really saw. That was the first one, and I got a story that goes with it. That I was watching it. I must have been, 10 years old, and I went by. I would sleep over my sister's house, and she got me into kind of horror, and she would rent me old videos. We'd go to the video store, the mom and pop video store, and there I am. I get The Beast Within. I put it in, and my niece, who's 1.5 years old, is in her crib. I'm 10 years old, right? And my sister's like, "We'll put this in for you. I'm just gonna go down a few houses down the block to have a cup of tea. You okay?" I'm okay. No, that was a fucking bad thing. I was not okay. I'm watching that movie, and at the end, you get the transformation scene. I heard a door creak in the house, and there I am in my little fucking onesie pajamas, man. I booked out of the fucking house, run down the street. I go, and my sister's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, I got fucking scared. I don't know what's going on. Left the door open to the house. My 1.5-year-old niece. Jen, I'm sorry. I love you, Jen. I got nothing happened, but holy shit, man. And that's why I have a soft spot for The Beast Within, man. It was a great transformation at the end too, but it was pretty cool. Pretty cool that was the initial horror movie, the first one that I saw.
As a kid, Nothing's really given any, you know, done what The Exorcist did for me. So
No, not nothing. That movie, I get frustrated sometimes because today's generation a little bit. They'll watch it and they're like, oh, I don't, what? There's nothing
well, it's
scary.
almost like today's
It's
generation. You got to turn it into like 5-minute videos, a compilation of 5-minute videos.
Exactly. I mean, if you can't watch The Exorcist and see it for the masterpiece that it is, and just see how that it had that documentary type style, the way Friedkin shot it, and the shocking images. Are you a Terrifier fan?
Yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah.
have you seen the latest ones?
I haven't seen the third one yet.
Okay,
I haven't seen
so
the third one.
so you remember Vicky?
Talked about it, but just haven't gotten around to it.
Vicky, right? So
Okay.
she was in the first one. She was the sister, right? That she goes to try to help her sister. We actually had her on the show as well.
I think I've seen that one.
Yeah.
I did see that one.
And in 3, I don't want to spoil 3, but 3 actually has a scene that when we interviewed her, when we talked to her recently for the show, I harkened back 50 years ago to The Exorcist, because it is a similar shocking scene that is like a holy fuck they went there type of moment when you watch it. I don't want to ruin it for you, so I'll let you take a look at it. Terrifier 3, but yeah, pretty cool.
Have you ever seen The Antichrist with Willem Dafoe?
No, I'd never seen that, but I heard great things, and I heard it's pretty disturbing. Somebody
yeah, especially the violence put on Willem Dafoe.
yeah, that's what I heard.
I can't remember what was going on in the scene, but it always stuck in my head. His wife, they're both in a cabin, and he's trying to do therapy with his wife or something like that, and I think she picked up a log or something. He was on the I can't remember how it went, but I remember she took this log and it slammed his junk while he was naked on the floor.
Fuck.
Then, and you see this, she jerks him off and blood's coming out.
Oh my God.
I mean, you get to see this thing happening. Like, all I could think about was that for the rest of the movie. You know? Did you see the first Omen? Ow! Yeah.
The birthing scene?
I picked stuff out of that. I don't know. Because had they not put the whole Gregory Peck thing in there, I probably would have been fine with it, because there are sections where it just does not fit. And especially when it comes to that, what was that one guy's name? The one that was trying to warn Gregory Peck in the Omen.
Oh, yeah.
That character. There was just certain things put in there. And then I still remember when the director was saying we're purposely going to make it a female that has, for reasons to make it more human or something to that. It's like, why are you trying to change this? And I guess it was a big selling point, and she kept mentioning Disney, and with Disney it's like they're really on that seriously progressive side when it comes to that. And I don't know if they thought of it more of a feminist or a female driven film. Maybe that's why they got the green light on it, but it looks like they could actually build their own sequels off what happened there at the end. They're not going to be able to dig up Gregory Peck or anything like that. But it's going to have to be kind of something off the side.
So it was David Warner, right? I think it was David Warner, who played was the individual that was warning Gregory Peck.
That might have been him. Because there's just too many things that don't go explained. Like when they go to the graveyard in the 76 film. Okay, if why would they bother to put this jackal in a graveyard if it was being birthed from a person, that's supposed to have like this jackal DNA? It's just those little things. Like, okay, that doesn't work. How's that work? The last time we seen that demonic jackal being burned alive in whatever building that was. And so I don't know. It was a good enough film, and I really liked the atmosphere on it. It just for me, it just didn't connect. It was like when they're trying to connect it directly into the 76 film, it wasn't working for me anyway. Because I'm kind of a purist when it comes to that, especially with The Exorcist, and that's why I didn't really care for the first season of the show. There's just episodes that kind of were like almost standalone episodes with that show. Where it was like the bugs scene on the pillow and her throwing up. Why is she throwing up bugs?
Yeah.
The third eye thing.
The curling iron. The curling iron
Okay, I could
scene.
see the curling iron, but I didn't like what they did with the Pazuzu character, trying to make him into some old white guy. Were they
Yeah,
trying
that
to
bothered
make a
me.
Were they trying to make a statement? I mean, this was like
Yeah,
2016. And
that
then he
bothered
makes
me.
the comment on the left, "You can't do this. You're only a woman."
Yeah,
Where did that come from? Why
yeah.
would he care about that? And knowing that Gina Davis is an activist, I could see that happening. But I also had a tough time trying to figure out how in the world Reagan grew like a foot taller suddenly. Because
Yeah,
Gina Davis is like what, 6 foot?
yeah. She's tall.
And you
She's
got
tall.
Linda Blair's like 5 foot.
She's
How does
tall.
that
Yeah.
work?
Just going back to
The
I couldn't
frame,
think
all
of.
of a sudden she took a lot of good vitamins and whatnot, and then she gets a managing job. That's not quite what I would have pictured with that character. And I couldn't see the mom throwing I couldn't see Chris McNeil throwing her own daughter under the bus because things were getting tough.
Yeah.
And I mentioned that to Mike in the reviews, that they did the same. They did the same thing in Believer, and
That's what I despised. She was not. She would listen. She wasn't going to try to profit over anything that happened with her daughter. She wasn't someone that's going to write a book and become this hobbit. She just wanted to fucking forget that ever happened to her daughter. So I hate where they took that movie, and basically they insulted the character of Ellen Burstyn and Chris McNeil and what they did to her.
And she wasn't part of their damn Patreon.
Yeah,
game.
I mean, it was like, come on, man, what are you fucking doing here? It's that movie was, and I was so pumped for that because let's face it, there hasn't been a lot of good movies in this franchise, right? I mean, for me, Exorcist 3, because I'm a big fan of George C. Scott. I mean, I love Exorcist 3. For me, Exorcist 3 has one of the best jump scares in horror, period.
Yeah, and it
right?
probably wasn't something that he was like, I got to make the best. It's not like Flanagan saying, I've got to make the best jump scare of my life.
Yeah, yeah.
You didn't hear Blatty say that. He's just kind of like, okay, let's go for this, and this is what we're going to do, and boom.
But
even though, and it's kind of sad in a way that Blatty was more, didn't have as much creative control over this one like he did the first one.
Yeah.
From what I understood, studio wanted to cut out the whole Iraq scene completely, take away the Marin character and just keep the Karras character and film it in California.
That would have been a horrible fucking decision. Horrible decision.
But it works out for them.
Yeah, well, that's why again, and real quick, Samantha Scafidi was Vicky in the Terrifying. I was losing her name, and sorry, Samantha, I know we just had you on the show.
I could totally. Didn't you guys were concerned about pronouncing the last name in the beginning of the show or something like that?
Oh, did you check? Did you watch that?
I think
one?
I remember that.
Yeah.
And she said it was perfect.
We were.
Okay.
And we spoil the shit out of it, so you probably know what you're going to see in Terrifying 3. But yeah, no, we again that was awesome. I'm a huge Terrifier fan. We had David Howard Thornton on the show, who Art the Clown. So it was pretty cool. We're blessed that we have these opportunities to kind of get these people on the shows, but. Yeah, I just, I'm starved for another Exorcist movie, and the only reason I'm holding out hope. No, listen, nothing will ever be The Exorcist. No, the fact that these movies even try to, that's where they fail. Don't try to be The Exorcist. You're never going to replace it. You're never going to come close to it.
No,
leave it alone.
And they can't. And from what I understand, they're just they only got rights to the sequels.
Yeah.
From what I understand, I don't know who has the rights to The Exorcist. It might be Bill Blatty's wife or widow.
Oh, okay.
For all I know, I don't know. I'm tempted to ask her, but the thing is, it's like trying to get a hold of somebody like that. Yeah. I just got lucky and got Mike talking with me, and I actually went down there and met him.
That was awesome.
Show him a real person, and he agreed to get on the show and do the live Q&A. I'm hoping that if the new one comes out, that we can repeat that and do like maybe a Q&A on that, what he thought, because he's a big. When it comes to his dad's work, he's going to be a big critic on it.
Sure.
He had a good laugh when I talked about what was it, the first season of the show, pretty much having the same scenario with Chris McNeil and the book, except with the show it was The Devil and My Daughter.
Yeah.
Oh God, why?
But the only reason I'm holding out hope for this one is because I thought Dr. Sleep. I love Dr. Sleep. I loved what Flanagan, because to me, Shining, I love The Shining, right? Shining is an iconic movie. And I loved how, with Doctor Sleep, he connected all the dots, but he connected them in a very good way, right? He brought it back, to so I'm hoping that he doesn't maybe go as far as he did with Doctor Sleep to kind of really pull in a lot of
Yeah,
the
where he was
Exorcist.
trying to pull in both sides. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
but
know what you're
but
saying.
tells his
Yep.
own story, his own vision, right? But
Hmm.
kind of connects the dot. I'm just starved for Exorcist content, man.
I'm
Even when you
getting
go to
tired of these this whole trend on having member berries in films. Hey,
what is
remember
that?
this?
Oh, remember?
Remember
Okay.
when Father Karras was hitting the boxing bag and
Yeah.
the body
You look
bag?
like John
Remember
Garfield.
remember remember the dogs fighting in that scene? They had to throw that in there. And it's funny because Green was saying he wasn't going to do that, and he did it anyway.
Yeah, he did.
It's
He did it.
my guess. I guess this leads into I'm not too concerned. I'd look forward to see what Flanagan can come up with. What I'm worried about is Blumhouse. Who's
Yeah,
going to
well,
influence him and say, no, we want to put this
I
in?
agree, right? That
You
before you
know?
know it, you got a little fucking imaginary bear that's walking across the fucking
Oh God.
or a swimming pool that's haunted that fucking Reagan falls into or some shit like that. Yeah, I hope that Blumhouse just realizes the the issues. I mean, listen, Exorcist Believer was a complete, utterly, it was a failure, right? So I hope they learn from their mistakes and let this guy do his thing. Don't intervene. Don't try to control shit. Let him just wind him up and let him go tell his vision of this movie. And I hope
They
that
might as well have had Flanagan working with A24.
oh, A24 is the ones that I wanted to see. Whether it's Ari Aster or not, A24
Yeah,
would have been perfect to
yeah.
fucking give us another Exorcist movie. Would have been
Because
perfect.
it's almost like you listening to Jason Blum, and it's not just one movie. He's talking about a whole slew of things
Yeah,
that they're working on. Just
yeah.
keep putting them out, putting them out, putting them out, putting them out.
Blumhouse had some good ones. I mean, Sinister. Sinister was a great movie. The Black Phone was good. So there's
They
some
had what Paranormal Activity.
paranoid. Yeah, yeah. So
That's
there.
that one of their selling points where they always bring that up when they talk about
Yeah,
success.
the
So,
little engine that
but
could, right?
but you're not dealing with someone else's work. You're not dealing with someone else's IP when it comes to. I mean, I don't know where they got the Paranormal Activity idea from. Whether it was in house
Yeah, I
at
think it was Oren
Blumhouse.
Pelly. I think Oren Pelly, who directed it, I think came with that little that story. So, um, I mean, what they make that movie for? I mean, he literally
Like
shot it
11,
in his apartment, for Christ's sakes.
was it 15 million, 11 million? Less
What?
than that? It was
Oh
just
yeah,
maybe even less than a million.
it
I
was
can't
less than
remember.
yeah, yeah,
It's
yeah. I
just
mean,
yeah,
look at Blair Witch Project, right? I mean, when they shot
yeah,
that thing for what, like 60 grand, and it became a
yeah.
phenomenon.
There
I
you
mean,
go. Yep,
it was
yep.
huge. It did over 250 million or whatever it was. So I'm actually going to a convention in March in Jersey at the New Jersey Horror Con, and they're doing a Blair Witch reunion. So
Oh wow.
yeah, so all three, Heather, Mike, and Josh are going to be there. So I'll be like a little fanboy. I'm going to see if I can get them on the show, see if they'd agree to kind of come on and do a little interview with us.
I'd like to see what Flanagan comes up with. And again, I really wish it wasn't Blumhouse that had this.
Yeah, yeah, it would have been nice if it was A24. But hey, so are you getting back to The Exorcist now? Again, so many. I mean, so many ripoffs, so many possession movies, right? The Exorcist started it all, right? I think there's a handful of good ones, maybe. You had Beyond the Door. Remember that one?
Well, you
Like
still had
a
the
medium.
possession of Joel Delaney too, that came
Yeah,
out a year
yeah,
before that.
yeah,
But that was more. It wasn't diabolical possession. It was one guy's like a killer's spirit going into someone else, and then at the end of that, the spirit jumps from that person that was I can't say harassing, more like a threat to Shirley MacLaine's family into Shirley MacLaine, and you just know that at the end when her face changes.
yeah,
Yeah. And so honestly, I thought it would. I know that there was the thought of having Shirley MacLaine as the Chris McNeil character
yeah,
since it was based
yeah,
around her, but I can also see where that would have been an issue because to me, Ellen Burstyn was a little lesser known.
yeah. She was better. She was. I mean, they were gonna have Stacy Keach
Yeah.
for
And then they had to kind of
for
buy him
Jason
out.
Miller, right? And Friedkin had to really go to battle with I guess was it Warner Brothers at the time. He had to go to battle with them. Say, listen, I want Jason Miller because they were wrapped up. And
Mhm.
that's what I love about The Exorcist. You got you didn't have well-known stars. I don't think it would have worked
No, because
If
you're
you had
associating someone else with
exactly.
it's like Shirley MacLaine had a TV show going on at the same time, about like 71, 72. And then, if you had been watching that and then you see her in another movie, it's like, oh, look, it's Shirley MacLaine. I just seen her in this and this and that. To me, that's kind of like, okay, that just took me out of the film.
Yeah.
It was just like what was it? Friedkin had seen the guy who played the Uncle John character for Jason Miller, the one in the hat.
Okay.
The
Oh
one
yeah,
that
yeah,
was
yeah.
saying
When he's at
taking him to the
hospital.
hospital and saying,
Yeah.
yeah.
Amy,
And so we have to
why
take
you
him
do this to me?
this, and her edema affected their brain and all this. That guy.
Yeah.
Anyway, the actor had been in another film where I guess he was supposed to be fucking a sheep or something.
Oh,
And so
geez.
Friedkin said he didn't want anybody associating that character with the character in the film, so they threw
Oh
a
my
hat on
God.
it.
What was that? Was that part of the Serbian film sequel or something?
I don't know what that was. I've never seen that one. But
What's that? Serbian
yeah,
film?
don't know.
Yeah, oh no, yeah, yeah. That
John
movie's
Waters.
that
Early
movie's
John
disturbing.
Waters.
Yeah.
God.
But
Yeah, it had Divine in it. No.
oh man.
But
So
yeah,
how did the Exorcist not win Best Picture? I always like how did The Sting win Best Picture that year, man? How could you have a phenomenon like
did
that
it really? Yeah, I know.
and not
And
clean
so
house when it comes to the
did you
awards?
see that? Did you see that? What was it? That short I did about there was like one person on the board that didn't like that film, and
Yeah.
freaking heard through the grapevine. There's also the thought that in my mind, it's like, how did The Graduate lose out to was it My Fair Lady or Dr. Dolittle? When it came to music, it's almost like, oh well, we can't have that.
Yeah.
And so we'd rather have the Roger and Hammerstein music than whatever Simon and Garfunkel put out for the Graduate.
Yeah, yeah. The
It
one
kind of
thing,
fallen into that, still having that mindset,
Yeah.
and for it to for The Exorcist to even get as far as it did, but you couldn't. It's something you couldn't avoid. You
Yeah.
couldn't say no. It's not going to go to the Oscars.
you had to.
But-
I mean, you couldn't totally ignore it, but
No.
I'm during our shows when we do our shows and we do our podcasts and everything. I really rip fucking Hollywood today because. Like the Terrifier movies that are coming out now, like you got Terrifier 3, an unrated movie, which was the number
Sure.
one fucking movie in America, right? And the scenes in that movie, it's like, this is what the horror community wants. We don't want our watered down horror anymore. We don't want to, us Gen Xers, right? We grew up with some scary shit, some practical effects, some gory shit on the screen. We don't want these tame PG-13 fucking jump scare fucking movie. I want some true horror, and Hollywood needs to wake up and realize that there is an audience for this. And I hope the Terrifier movies pave the way for that, because I don't want tame horror.
It's funny that kind of brings us right back. For me, it brings us right back to Believer. To me,
Yeah.
that wasn't that scary at all. I mean, it's like
no, there was
I've
nothing to
I've
it.
seen scarier stuff on Goosebumps, or Are You Afraid of the Dark? I don't know what they were thinking. Let's
Exactly.
really water this down and
Yeah,
add all this other stuff in it, and make sure that it's palatable for the audience or
It was
something
an
to that
epic
effect.
fail, man. It was an epic fail all the way around, man. The only good thing that I liked about Believer was
Makeup?
the makeup.
I like the makeup.
I'll,
The makeup
I'll,
was
I'll, I'll
good.
give them the makeup. The makeup was, excuse me, the
Yeah.
makeup was good. I'll give them the makeup. I mean, it wasn't iconic what Reagan was. I mean, I love what Dick Smith did. It's so cool to watch all the different makeup tests that they did back in the day for The Exorcist. I'm glad they landed on just self-inflicted scratches and sores on her face, as
yeah,
opposed to
definitely.
some of the other stuff. But the makeup in Believer was good. The rest of it was just a steaming pile of shit.
It's got me curious what if they had the makeups then like we have today, what she would have looked like. And in some shots, it's like she didn't look as good as until like the latter part of the film where she's laying there and talking to Karis, sweating it out. It looked like the makeup was a little bit better. It didn't look like
Yeah.
makeup.
Yeah.
It looked a little bit more realistic, and I was wondering, well, if they had the whatever materials they had like now, that was at the act, Dick Smith's access, to do the makeups,
Yeah.
would she have looked any different?
Yeah.
Would have been a little bit more going on there.
Yeah, but I mean, everything that they did in that movie, all the effect. I mean, I remember that one story they were saying when they had the animatronic, right, and they put it in a fucking New York City taxi cab, and they drove that shit around, and people that are like stopped at lights singing that shit, like, oh man, that's intense. But I thought the makeup effects was great. I thought, and I always, I mean, I'm a big fan of Linda Blair. I met her once at a convention way back when. She doesn't do many conventions. To your point, she's got her foundation now that is fantastic. That she's she's taking care of animals and all that. And
Does she go East Coast?
She was East Coast. Yeah, she was. I think it was a Chiller Theater. I want to say it was either Chiller Theater or Fangoria. It was many years ago. We're talking 25, 30 years maybe.
Okay, because I would think that she'd probably want to stick around California more so, especially since she's kind of home based over there.
Yeah. No, this one was on the East Coast, probably like I said, 20, 25 years ago. I don't remember where, but it was cool meeting Linda Blair. She's, I would love that. That's my bucket list right there. That's my Willy Wonka fucking chocolate. My golden ticket found in a fucking chocolate bar. That's right.
My bucket list with Willy Wonka chocolate. Huh. Okay.
That's my ripping open the bar, finding my fucking golden ticket.
And just let that chocolate fall right out of your hands onto the street.
Yeah, fuck the chocolate. Who cares? That's my golden ticket.
Chocolate, damn it.
To get Linda Blair to actually interview her. That would be awesome. That would be awesome.
would have. I really want that as well, but I'm reluctant because knowing me, I will ask the wrong question and really piss her off.
Oh yeah.
See, there's a lot of stuff honestly, I think Friedkin knew that she was already broken.
Yeah.
And when they pushed this whole innocent this and all that image, to me, I don't think that was the case. I mean, she practically a year later is dating Rick Springfield.
Yeah. I mean,
shows up at the Whiskey A Go Go, and if you look back at some of these old like Teen Beat magazines, they don't say that. Oh, they were at a malt shop. Yeah. Or some crap.
Wasn't she dating Rick James too? I think she was dating.
Yeah, she was Rick James. I even got the book where, and supposedly, according to Rick James, and she did a lot of drugs, and they never talk about that anymore.
Yeah. Well, Exorcist fucked her up. I mean,
you should have heard what. I don't even know if that was the case. I think Hollywood fucked her up.
Yeah, Hollywood. I mean, but The Exorcist started it, right? I mean, it's like people were afraid of her. People were like, like what's wrong with this fucking child? Like.
Well, it makes me wonder why her agent didn't suggest her. And it took her mom to take her in and get to the casting call.
Yeah.
Maybe he knew something that no one else did. That maybe she was a little broken.
That's deep.
If you look back, there's a book from 1974. He mentions that same story that he keeps telling or did tell about when he met Linda Blair, and he was telling this more like maybe in the 80s on. The one about the jerking off.
Yeah,
story.
where he explained the masturbation, and she kind of knew what that was.
So
right?
He didn't bring that up. He brought it up in 74.
Yeah.
But he didn't say it was Linda. He said it was a 9-year-old.
Oh, interesting.
So it's like, okay, what's he doing? Is it true that it was a 9-year-old, or is he trying to cover that up?
Yeah.
If the story came out, he wanted to, bite it in the butt quickly and say it was a 9-year-old. And then maybe he felt more relaxed to bring it up later on, because I know he was trying to make sure nothing wrong went with this film.
Well, was that Eileen
this was like
Dietz?
A big deal.
Was it Dietz with the every time
bringing up the stuff after the Golden Globes?
Well, Eileen Dietz in the movie was she was the one with the crucifix, right? I mean, that was
those
her.
shots supposedly. But you still see shots where she's doing it into that box.
When I say Dietz, it just brings me to Mr. Deeds from Adam Sandler.
Yeah, there's a lot of questions I'd have for her. If you ever have her on the show,
I'm gonna try to. I'm gonna meet her this year. I'm actually meeting her. She's gonna be in Atlantic City, I think, in May, and I'm gonna go meet her and I'm gonna ask her if she can come onto the show because I would love to interview Eileen Dietz. I'll bring you on the show for that if you want.
If you do, did you ever see that unboxing of that tiki cup, the Pazuzu one?
Yeah.
Did you see the box? It's got Eileen Dietz makeup on it.
Yeah.
And she's on the bottom of the mug.
Yep.
You should, if you get that and go down there. You should have it signed.
I should.
That would be so awesome.
Yeah.
You should show her that. She probably has never seen that before.
That's true. That's true. Yeah. Yeah. Definitely.
It'd be very unique, I think.
Definitely. Yeah. Yeah. So.
But I got like a lot of questions when it's in regards to like the soup wars. I guess that's what they called the pea soup wars.
Okay.
When it came to how much credit she got toward how much was given to Reagan or Linda Blair, you know, because there was like a lot of those magazines that come out, the gossip magazines, where Friedkin was quoted saying, "Oh, Linda Blair did everything," and then she was even said she's even quoted been saying, "Oh, I did all my own stunts and all this stuff."
Yeah, interesting.
Now, whether that's truth or not,
yeah,
even though it's quoted in a periodical, it's hard to say. It's just like that whole story with the you know, the jerking off thing. I've been wanting to ask Linda Blair that one too. I don't know if she'll avoid it. She's like, I don't know, I don't want to talk about that.
Yeah.
Is it true? You know, to me, I mean, it's like, okay, I wouldn't be bringing that to a you know.
She might shut the interview down at that time.
Yeah. And I thought it was interesting that, you know, like when they did this casting call, even Pamela Ferdin mentioned that she was called in by her agent. And back then, she said that when you were like a working kid, you didn't have a choice. You had to show up.
Yeah, yeah.
And of all people, Pamela Ferdin. Do you remember who that is?
Pamela.
Back in the 70s,
no.
She was like all over the place.
No.
Do you remember? Okay, let's try this. Do you remember the old Star Trek episodes?
Not a Trekkie guy.
Okay, because there's a particular one she's in, but she's been on like The Odd Couple. She used to be the voice on the old Charlie Brown specials. She was the voice of Fern from Charlotte's Web. When you hear her voice, you know exactly who I'm talking about. She's got this very distinct voice,
like Mercedes McCambridge.
Yeah, I guess you could say that, but it's kind of like that voice. It's like doesn't sound like anyone else's voice.
Yeah.
She's got these weird inflections that she does, and I've been wanting to bring her on the show if I can convince her to talk about, you know, like working, you know, the whole what happened when she was called in.
Yeah.
And Friedkin turned her down right off the bat because, you know, she's too well known. She's like all over these different movies and commercials, and she was on the Brady Bunch of all things.
Oh, shit.
Which is funny because somebody had brought up the gal Eve Plum trying out for The Exorcist, and she's already too far gone. In
was
the
that
Brady
Janet?
Bunch.
Which one was Eve?
Yeah, Jan.
That was Jan. Yeah. Jan. It was Marsha. There was Jan, and there was Cindy.
And I forgot Cindy.
Peter, Greg, and Bob. Yeah,
and
fucking
Bobby.
Brady Bunch.
Yeah. So she's too well invested in the Brady Bunch. It's like, really?
Yeah.
To put her in The Exorcist? No.
No, you can't do that. Kidding me?
And then the gal from Willy Wonka, you'd know. It's like everybody's seen Willy Wonka. She's too well known to play that part, even though that maybe it would have pulled it off.
Willy Wonka was just. I was just watching Willy Wonka. It was on the OG Willy Wonka, not Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
Right.
Before we started the interview, and that movie's kind of fucking creepy when you think about it.
Mm-hmm.
Like that little boat ride with Gene Wilder and shit, man.
Yeah.
People don't know. Like, there's a dark side to Willy Wonka.
That's the real Gene Wilder. He's not acting. He's just being himself.
Oh man! But getting back to Mercedes McCambridge, though, she, she didn't did Freakin' not give her credit, or she didn't want credit? How did that work? Because I think she was kind of
something like there was something signed, and who knows, maybe some shady stuff going on there. You know, trying to get some, you know, to bring it to the point where it's like keep the audience guessing, or try to give more credit to Linda Blair. You know, I think he was shooting to try to get to those Oscars. You know, he didn't want anything to interfere.
Yeah.
Because he put a lot of work into this film.
Oh, absolutely.
Beyond, like I said, beyond what a director, any other director I would know of would do, especially when it came to the theaters. You know, for those 24 engagements, and you know, even paying for a new screen so you can see their film. Yeah, you know, that's
then they
just
used
crazy.
To get like coffee and everything for people. Yeah, they were outside getting coffee.
Yeah,
that was cool.
Appreciate now you're talking about appreciating your audience.
Amen, man.
Instead of telling them that it's their fault this movie failed.
Yeah.
All you toxic people out there, you know, and all this garbage that's happening, it's not working anymore. Did it ever work? It's like, I ain't gonna go to your movie if you're gonna put me down. I can't help you made a crappy movie.
Yeah.
You know, what are you going to say about Believer? Gee, just you got the wrong audience. Maybe your audience doesn't exist, you know.
Yeah.
And then you got a lot of people. You got a lot of people that are really, and Universal's big on DEI. If you go on their page, they're pushing that to the daylights out of that.
Sure.
And one of the people I was like might have had influence on that film, in my opinion, was and she was an executive producer, was that Stephanie Elaine. She was known for movies like a lot of films, like, say, what was that one? I'm trying to think of it. I can see the characters, but I can't think of it. Boys in the Hood was one of them.
Oh, okay.
And then I think Dear White People might have been another one. And she was more pro, the whole pro, like a black character being in a lead and all this and whatnot. But in the background, she's got some DEI whatnot going on, because she was boasting about how they weren't blessing the set, like how they did in The Exorcist. They were like using sage from a spiritual worker would come in every day and sage the set. It's like, it's not the same thing. There's no Catholic involved. It's like, it's a Catholic free Exorcist. Basically.
Yeah, that whole curse thing, like when I was again, a lot of that you chalk up to coincidence, right? You're making a movie over a period of fucking time, right? You're gonna have deaths. People are gonna die during that time, right? There's just coincidence and all that. I mean, the fact that the bedroom fucking burned down, right? And was it the bedroom, or just, I think it was just like
no,
one
the bedroom's
room.
the one that didn't burn down.
Oh, was it the bedroom, right? Was every what was that story again? What burned down?
I know it was part of the set. I can't remember off the top of my head.
Okay. Yeah, but
you hear this like so many times. It's
my God.
I'm sorry, but I was actually dreading the first question. I knew you were going to ask it too. Say, oh God, I got to reach back.
Yeah, my memory's shot too, man.
But then I'm looking at this room. I'm like, what am I doing?
Yeah, I love the room, man. I wish I had some of your merch, man. I don't know about that Ouija board.
When I get out
those
of
things
this,
freak me out.
I'm probably going to be selling off my stuff. I mean, I can't take it with me. But it's one thing. It's like when you're listening to a documentary that's using information that they heard from this source. In some cases, you got to go back to like the beginning. That's why I'm like a big fan of like the old stuff. It's like I push on. It's like, if you're gonna buy a book, buy something closer to when it was made, like something like in 1974.
Yeah.
That AFI I got back here that I show in my periodicals, the one with Friedkin on the cover. If you're gonna get anything, get that one. That is an awesome book. This is like, he did the interview January 1974. It's like he just, right after the film came out, he's talking to people at American Film Institute.
Yeah.
And what I did was, there's a couple videos I did. The one about the medal, why is there a medal in the and where he got inspired on that. Even, I thought he made it up at first, because I don't trust everything that Friedkin says. I don't know how many different stories I've heard about how he got involved with The Exorcist. There's even one in this one interview where he said he stole the book from his lawyer's office. And then, the one that he runs with seems to be the most popular one, where he's like going on a dinner party.
Yeah, that's the one I heard, right? That's
with the manuscript. Then he canceled it sounds better, but then I've also heard the story where he was actually editing his film and he read it. There's all the stories seem to change over time, and which one do you really go with? And so when it came to the story about the medal, I wasn't sure whether he was making it up on the fly, but a lot of the people that he mentioned in the parapsychology outfit in the university, the California University, was real, because I had seen the real doctor in an interview on an old 80s special called Haunted Hollywood or something like that, with what's his name? Old actor John Carradine. Was featuring, and you could tell that John Carradine was getting there in his years, because he wasn't very mobile. It's like, okay, we're going to sit you right here, and I'll read the lines, because it's kind of like he starts off with The Exorcist in this thing, and it's got something that I had never heard anywhere else, where Blatty's talking about a paranormal thing that happened to him with a phone, where he saw the phone lift up off the cradle and put itself down. he shares that story. But it also has the doctor, I think her last name is Moss, from the parapsychology place, and she's talking more so not so much The Exorcist, but like I think she gets into the whole Amityville horror thing and the Entity, you know, those
Entity
movies.
That's a
But
great flick.
yeah,
That is a great
definitely.
man. I haven't thought about that movie in a hot minute. So the fact that you
Yeah,
brought
you
it
know, you
up, I may
still
have to
find it on
watch it.
DVD. I don't know if it's ever hit Blu-ray.
Yeah, I think I have it on DVD. I don't think I had no, I don't think it ever hit Blu-ray. I think I still have it on DVD. But Barbara Hershey, man, that was and that was based on a true story
Yeah,
as well,
I still
right?
remember
So
finding that story in a, I think it was a Believe It or Not, one of these little booklets that you get at the grocery store. You know
yeah,
how they
yeah.
have them all sitting either with the comic books or whatnot. And I picked it up, and it actually had the story about it. They illustrated it in a way where they show like this entity chasing her down the street and
Interesting.
attacking her, but they didn't get in those graphic like sexual details
Yeah,
because
yeah,
it was a kids geared more to a younger teen audience.
yeah.
But let me get back
Entity.
to what I was talking about. Okay, so Friedkin is talking about where he was inspired about the metal, and I don't know if you had seen the video. I did the narration myself. I didn't use AI at the time, and I wasn't sure if he was telling the truth on it because he was just going on and on. It almost sounded like he was just kind of like making up a story and building on it. But then I came across something mentioned in Bill Blatty's book Finding Peter, and he talked about it in a lot less fewer words than Friedkin. And so I was like, oh, okay, so it must have been true. You know, I'm going to guess. You know, I've got more affirmation that it being true than it wasn't. You know,
Yeah.
it's not like the story was just there and that's it. But yeah, I kind of watch what I kind of just take a lot of stuff that Friedkin has said in the past with a grain of salt. But I'll probably believe Blatty over Friedkin when it comes down to it.
Yeah.
You know, if he
Yeah.
shares the same story, and it's like, you know, if it's a little different than that, but yeah.
Who was the mechanical effects guy? It is with
Oh, I
Marcel
forget his
Vukater.
name.
Marcel Vukater, I think it was.
Yep.
You know, he did an amazing job too. And then you have that whole Ellen Burstyn, you know, where Friedkin kind of whispers in his ear, you know, when Reagan's, you know, when she slaps her, and she falls back, and he just fucking yanks her back, and you know,
Mhm.
she got hurt at first, you know, where
Yeah,
she's
it's
like,
funny. You
don't.
can tell because she's reaching for her back when she
Yeah,
fell.
yeah, she fucked up her back too
Oh
for
yeah.
life too. I
Well,
mean,
so
that
did Linda
was
Blair.
but and
And it
poor
makes you
Linda
wonder why they
Blair,
didn't
yeah.
sue or did they get any monies out of it? I still haven't heard anything about that.
Yeah, yeah, I don't know, but they both kind of, I mean, Linda Blair with the whole, I guess she was strapped down to that wooden thing and it was kind of bringing her back, you know, and yeah, but
There was
old
probably
school, man. Old school. Today you do that shit with CGI and it looks like shit, but back then, man,
yeah, the
that's
physics. That's one of the reasons why I have a problem with Megan.
oh
And especially
yeah,
when she's standing, she
yeah,
throws the table, and it's like, you know, the physics involved in this doesn't
yeah,
quite work. How much does she weigh?
yeah.
I also had a problem with the that new Child's Play when it came down to it. You know, speaking of, I don't know, robots or whatever you want to call them, like Megan was. What was she considered other than AI? What
Yeah,
was she like a robot of
she was
sort?
like a
I can't
robot.
remember.
Yeah, she was built, I guess, to
So then you
protect
have that
her,
whole new
the young
reboot
girl.
of Chucky, Child's
Yeah.
Play. Now, how expensive would this doll be if it was real? I mean, honestly, is anybody going to be able to afford that? All the settings were on. Who puts the settings in
Yeah.
there like that? You know, it's like, how much does this thing cost? Better yet, how much does this thing weigh?
You know, it's amazing that as I'm talking to you and I see Reagan like hovering over your shoulder
I
there.
know it's funny. It's like that what was it, the gifts for $50? I did a shot of Reagan in the
Yeah.
beginning, and then if you watch her eyes kind of move off to the side a little
Yep,
bit.
yep.
Yeah.
There's a good video on YouTube. I forget who did it, but they did a makeover on the animatronic.
I think I've seen it too.
Yeah, and I think the father had his son do it, and I was like, dude, if I ever fucking buy that, I'm gonna reach out and make it because I think that again, I think not saying that it's horrible, but I think they could have done a better job on her face, for the animatronic. Yeah, I know, but if I do get one,
Wait till my Phantom Studios bust comes in. I paid a pretty penny.
Oh man. See, that's what I want, man. I need to get me a Reagan bust.
Did you watch the video that I interviewed them? Did you watch that one?
Which one? Which one was this?
It's a Father Phantom Studios.
Oh no, I gotta watch. I'm still kind of consuming your videos right now. I'm not
Yeah,
through,
that's
but
a
I'm
that's a good
watching them.
video because
I'll
not
check
only
that
do
one
I,
out.
yeah, I asked them if they'd come on. They're out in the UK,
Okay.
and I had questions and concerns about the bus because I was like, oh, do I really want to get this? What happens if, because shipping up here it just sucks.
Yeah.
I can imagine getting it in the mail and it's just like broken.
Oh yeah.
With the way that they ship things over here, and that was one of my biggest concerns. I'm paying good money.
Did you get a chance to see what it's going to look like? Like, do you know?
Yeah,
like,
you see like all the whole process almost. They can't show everything, but not only that, they show their Terminator, their Freddy from Nightmare on Elm Street.
Okay.
And we did some close-ups and talked about that and some of the other things that they did. They even talked about a mask they did for a fan film for Halloween.
Okay.
Of course, they couldn't call it Halloween. They had to call it something else. So it's like, so they made up a Michael Myers mask just for this film. He wanted something quality. Didn't want something that I'm not sure where this guy was filming it, but they also do makeups for films.
Okay.
And it seemed like a pretty cool outfit. There's like just 3 of them.
Yeah.
And
I gotta check it out.
The video was good, and I asked him a few things like about you ever get a request for Reverend Kane from Poltergeist 2?
Oh,
it's like back then he was scary.
Creepy motherfucker. Yeah. Oh, hell yeah.
I used to do when I was a kid. I used to do his face, just kind of like do that thing when he's got his eyes like this.
Well, what was he? What was some of his?
Are you lost, sweetheart?
There you go.
Why don't you come with me? All right, then.
Yeah.
I'll sing you a song.
Do you imagine seeing that dude at your fucking Ring camera? Oh, shit. Can
you imagine have a bust of him in your house?
That would be cool.
He got the hat and everything, and then he's looking at you.
But I definitely got to get, like, that's the one thing. Like I got this trick or treat. It's the mask and all that. But I need a bust. I need something of Reagan. But I'm very concerned with, because you go on Etsy, you go on eBay, you go on all these different places, and it's like some look okay, but like, is it going to look exactly like that? And some look, like all the different, they all look different in different pictures. So I'm like really hesitant to, unless I could find someone that could really capture that image.
Well, if you get a chance, check out the that video.
I am absolutely. I'll check that shit out tonight. Definitely tonight.
I'm still debating on. I got a call from them. Well, not a call, but like I got a message that they're going to get started on it. It's probably been a year since
Holy shit.
Put in the request. Well, they got a lot going on. There's only 3 of them. They got all kinds of stuff going on.
Yeah, I can imagine. I can imagine. I'm sure they put their time and effort into it, right?
Sure.
With the detail.
And they're all individually painted and whatnot.
How long was this? How long ago was this video? Is it fairly recent that you just put out?
No, it was a year ago.
It was about a year ago. Okay.
This was the moment I asked them my concerns, my questions.
Okay.
And they told me it shouldn't be a problem, should be fine. And so I was like, okay, I'm gonna go for it.
Cool.
Put my money down. I can't remember if I asked for a stand or not. You can get them without, and I think I asked for without, and I wanted to make sure that can it stand by itself if it doesn't have that little stand that some of them come with. It's just, oh no, there's no problem. I figure what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna have get a pedestal of probably about 3 foot tall, and then just set her on that.
There you go.
So hopefully that'll work out.
Nice. I can't wait to see that video.
So I can look at her. That unboxing. I don't know how in the world they're going to get it to my house. If I have to go pick it up, get a truck.
Well, I hope it comes intact too, man. It's something like that where you paid a pretty penny for it, and it's that'll sit nicely in your Reagan room right there.
Yeah, it was like that unboxing that I did of this one. One of the things I noticed is the other unboxings that I've seen, they don't cover, like the switches and the stuff, what to expect, what you're going to need. All of a sudden they just have it. They unbox it and all of a sudden it's built. You don't get to see them put it together. I put mine together, and then I kind of went over all the little knobs and whatnot that were in the back. It's kind of hard to see because it's black. Everything's black on black. So I had to kind of do little outlines and what you're going to need to. The only thing I needed was a screwdriver. Everything was just kind of pretty much snap in place. And, the wires connect just so, and what would be the easiest way to get the gown on and all that. And then what I didn't count on is when I plugged her in, she was already set up to go off because she's got a sensor in the front.
Okay.
And she was loud because I was concerned, do I have to get speakers? I didn't. Then I go like, nope, don't need speakers. I had my cats watching me. All of a sudden they heard it and they just took off. They just jumped off the table and took off. And so it's like, okay, now we're putting the foot pad on there so she doesn't keep going off. And that's all I could think about at night. Cats running in the bedroom or something. It's like, oh no, Reagan's going off. It's kind of like when you're a parent and you've got those little Happy Meal toys that if you push a button it goes off, and they're at the bottom of the toy box, and they're going off. If you got kids and they're going off in the middle of the night because something shifted, it's like, oh God, I can't take it anymore. You're digging for this thing. You're either gonna like set it aside or you're gonna throw it away.
Have you spun her head yet with the Santa hat on?
I just have her unplugged, so
nice.
She's not going off at random.
Nice.
But yeah, you probably want to have her set maybe about 3-4 feet away from the wall, maybe a little further. You could probably go a little further because you got the back projector. So once her head spins around, you see Eileen Dietz makeup thrown up on the back of the wall.
Yeah.
So it's always best to have something behind her.
Yeah.
Even a white wall worked well. I don't know how that would do if you had a darker wall.
I'm trying to,
wood paneling.
in my horror man cave here, it's not the biggest room, so I don't have like in a corner where I would put her there. I won't have a lot of, and I got a lot of posters and everything on. So, my wife, she made an agreement with me that if I finished a painting upstairs in the hallway, we've been in the house for
you can have that room
for like 14 years. If I finished a painting of all the woodwork, I could fucking take over the hallway. So I started kind of putting all my horror shit out in the hallway. So I would like, I'm thinking maybe Reagan just fucking stands at the top of the steps, coming up upstairs, and I'll use the hallway to kind of.
That's all you need. You're half asleep and like.
Yeah.
Is there
she thinks I
room?
curse the house anyway. She's like, all that shit you bring in. If anything fucking starts happening in this house, you and all your horror shit's going out.
I would wonder as well. Sometimes I wonder if that focus is actually doing something. It did occur to me one night. I woke up out of a dead sleep, like,
Well, you got a Ouija board there, man. I'm afraid to have a Ouija board in the house, dude. I'm like, those things make me nervous. Even though I got a planchette on my. Like, it took me a while to really, like, tell the tech, because the tattoo artist is like, well, we need something over here. We were going to put her, like, her levitation here, just like the shadow of her, because I had to fill in this spot right here. And he's like, why don't we put the Ouija board planchette? And I'm like, oh, man. Like, do I want to put that on my fucking body, man? Do I want to?
Yeah.
Like, I was freaked out. Like, I don't think about it.
You rested your arm on a Ouija board, and all of a sudden your arm's jerking around.
Right. It's like my arm's spelling shit out.
Jason Blum's probably watching this saying, hey, that's a good idea.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And then
the guy's
we can put
got
a fucking
tattoo,
bear. Yeah.
And it's moving around, and it tears off his arm.
Yeah. And then a bear runs into the room, and then he falls in a pool, and it's haunted.
Then he cuts off his arm and replaces it with a shotgun.
Oh, shit.
Where have I seen that before?
Oh, yeah, right?
Yeah.
Oh, man. So, hey, if I know we're approaching 2 hours here, my friend, and I'm loving the conversation, man.
Well, what else did you want to cover? Anything real quick?
No, I think we covered
this if you wanted to.
Yeah, I think we covered a lot of one of the other guys, my buddy Dave, who does the podcast, the show with us, he does all the editing, so I'll just upload this and he'll put it together. And I don't know if you want to kind of put, if you're going to push it out to your to your channel as well. I mean, feel free, obviously.
I could probably what I'll probably do is I'll throw it in community, that way I just attach it, and say, hey, watch this.
Yeah. Listen, I mean, like I said, we're an up and coming. At first it was just like all audio podcasts, and we're just four self-proclaimed horror nerds just talking all things horror, and then we got the opportunity to do some interviews, and we started flirting around with the YouTube channel and all that. But I love it, man. I could talk fucking horror for hours and hours, man. Exorcist, horror movies, everything. I just love it. So
sometimes I get tired of talking about Exorcist just because it's like eating cake every day.
Yeah,
or something.
yeah.
Or eating the same thing every day. I'm like,
well, your whole channel's devoted to it, right? So it's
now I'm back to like, what was I thinking? But there's a lot of stuff I want to try to cover. I haven't even touched on Exorcist 2 yet. I'm still covering this. What I want to do is try to get the miniseries out of the way and talk about
Okay.
that, and then jump into like maybe Exorcist 2. I also want to talk about the knockoffs, that
Okay.
occurred during the 70s. Like I'll probably start with like Abby, and then possibly maybe
Beyond the
Beyond the
Door,
Door.
The Tempter. Remember
There was
The
another
Tempter?
one, Magdalena, the
Okay.
German one, and I brought that up in a short. It's funny because the guy who plays Carl in The Exorcist plays the priest in Magdalena, and it came out like a year later.
Wow. Okay.
So that's
Okay.
funny.
Yeah, interesting, right? It's yeah, I remember some of the knockoffs, man. I mean, it's still to this. Listen, the one movie that I will give that I really love, and if I ever said any, and it would never be close to The Exorcist, absolutely not, but it was a very good movie, The Exorcism of Emily Rose.
Yeah, I like that one.
I fucking
It was
love. I
great.
love the mix of the court drama, and Jennifer Carpenter was absolutely amazing in that. The whole possession, that movie really, that movie had some scary elements to it, and that one I really enjoyed. That was one of the better possession movies, and again based on true story. You listen to some of those tapes from Emily Rose, like the
Yeah,
real possession, and holy fuck, man, some of that shit is like. It's like nightmare fuel, man. I listened to that
right.
shit once when I was like, on my iPad and I was going to sleep in a dark room and just fucking fall asleep. I'm like, what am I fucking nuts? I'm just hearing all that shit
There,
and it's like, holy shit.
there's I was watching some, it was not quite a documentary. It was something that somebody had made up for YouTube and mentioned a particular priest that was somewhat involved in it, but he had wrote a book on possession, and he was well known for his own exorcisms. And back in that day, it was a German guy, and I actually ordered his book. I wanted to see what it had in it, concerning. I think it was called Satan and Possession, and it was translated in English. So I also got. I don't know if you, when it comes to the technical advisors on the first film, you've got Tom Birmingham, which Blatty knew.
Yeah,
Then
yeah,
there was Father O'Malley, but then you also had Reverend Nicola,
yeah.
and I have his book, and
Okay.
he kind of touches on, and it was in my last video, my last short. This is where I got that info. It comes right out of his book when it comes to that. He's pretty much, when it came down to it, he was kind of like the one that oversaw like the exorcisms, talked Jason Miller through some of the things, that the mannerisms and how to deal with the book and the reading,
Yeah,
and just all on the exorcisms portion. So to me, he's kind of like the canon of the film Exorcist. He's
sure.
like the film canon.
Yeah,
So pretty much, if you're gonna question what is going on in the exorcisms for The Exorcist, you kind of go. It probably makes sense to fall back on what he had to say
okay.
about it, because when the script came out, and they were doing the exorcism, and when it came to Reagan responding to what was going on with to Marin and Karis, Nicola's like, no, it would be more vulgar than that.
Yeah,
You go back in the novel and it's just more like very intellectual attacks and whatnot. But in here, and I always wondered why this was, it's like, why is she so vulgar? She's not like that in the novel. And this is why, because this was something that happens in an exorcism according to Nicola. And so Blatty had to go back and rewrite lines. And I think that's one of the reasons why, you hear that story about Max von Sydow being shocked at what she said.
yeah.
This wasn't rehearsed.
Yeah.
I think they weren't part of that rehearsal.
That's great that you got a
So that
preset.
she's saying these things that they're new lines now. They're new lines now.
Yeah.
You can find them in the transcript. You can't find it in the original script.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
He had to go back. He rewrites like 5 lines, and I think it was Freed can pick 3, and of course they're the classic ones. Like your mother sucks cocks in hell.
Could you
one.
imagine that meeting? Right? No, you got to go vulgar. I need you to say, "Stick your cock up her ass, you worthless."
Well, it's like, he did leave it. He did leave it up to Blatty to write it. He didn't. He wasn't the one writing. He said, "Okay, we're gonna leave it to you, and then come back, and then we're gonna see if it
that's
works."
great.
And so
That's great. And that's why I love that you came on the show, my friend. Like I said, I'm learning a lot just watching your videos. Very informative, and a lot of cool little Exorcist nuggets that I didn't even know, and just by watching some of your content.
That's one of the reasons why, other than covering the miniseries, that's basically why I have that channel. Is I wanted to cover the miniseries, and of course, like I said, I ended up going down a rabbit hole when it came
Yeah.
to this stuff.
Yeah.
So I started collecting more and more information, see if I can gather this from something here. Well, they said this back then, and then this is the reason supposedly this happened. It's like when I went to Georgetown, and Mike was saying, no, they didn't film. They didn't film the bar scene at the tombs. They couldn't. And then you got all these other people like on YouTube and whatnot saying, oh yeah, it was filmed over here. There's this one guy who actually went in the tombs and tried to convince, I don't know whether he's trying to convince himself that they tried to film it there. I don't know if you've seen that video that I had done.
No.
Yeah, it's a good one. I actually got to sit in the same booth because that place didn't change. And they tried to make it, and I went back into the script, and it was supposed to have been like they were trying to go for a kind of a bar scene with students. Now that would have been more like the tombs, but because the owner thought he was Catholic and he thought the novel was blasphemous, he wasn't going to let Blatty film in there. So they took it over to Martin's Tavern. This isn't just down the street, but it just happened to be down the street from where I was staying.
Oh,
we
wow.
had eaten there, and this is in the video. We had eaten in there. It's a more formal setup. They're serving swordfish, and you're having wine, and you're having all this kind of stuff. It's not any place you're going to go get a burger and fries and shake.
Sure.
I'm sure they might have something like that, but it wasn't something that they'd recommend. But I come back, and I got a hold of Mike and asked him again because he had mentioned something about where it was, and he said it was Martin's Tavern, and I was like, I was just there. So I go back the next day and asked management and one of the waiters there, and they were pointing at the same booth. And at the time, this one was called I forget the name of it, but it was after an astronaut, like the first Australian astronaut or something. So there was no, when it was filmed, there was no little plaque in there, and it's just adjacent to the JFK proposal booth that they have there, where JFK proposed to his a Jackie.
Okay.
And then next to that is I think they call it the Richard Nixon inauguration speech booth, where he's writing in there. So you had a lot of politicians and whatnot going into that house, or not the house, the tavern there. And it's a small place, and it hasn't changed much. And to really drive the whole thought home, I came across a news broadcast on YouTube that covered the 91st anniversary. I think it was the 91st, something like that, of this place, Martin's Tavern. And the owner brought up, well, it was brought up that The Exorcist was filmed in there. He even named the bartender that was in the scene, and how that all came to be, how the bartender was in that scene. He became the one serving Father Karras. He went through that whole spiel, and just watching that, I was like, okay, you can't deny it now. You can't say it's the tombs now, because it wasn't the tombs. They'd have to have moved all those tables out of the way, because there's it's a dining place where it's got like the tables and whatnot.
Sure.
And that wasn't quite the crowd that was going in there. So my guess is they moved all these tables back and tried to make it look like something like the tombs.
Okay.
But where you got like Rambling Man playing in the background, there didn't seem to be any way where there was music being pumped in there. I think that was added in post.
Okay.
Especially since all the filming was done back in I think in 72 in Georgetown, and Rambling Man hadn't come out until 73.
Okay.
So my guess is all that background ambience
it was probably
with
put
the
in
music
after the
was
fact.
added in. Yeah, there was this. It made it sound bigger than it was, and it wasn't.
Yeah.
It's a very small place.
Yeah, I remember the video.
corner.
I remember it's saying the tombs and everything. I got to check that one out. So
And
slowly but surely, I'm
another
getting
one
through
saying,
it.
yeah, it's like, nope, that's wrong. Sorry. Nope. That's why I'm saying you got to go back and almost research it yourself.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times people will just run with information they've already heard,
Sure.
grab the kite string
Sure.
and run with it, even if it's wrong.
And there's so much out there. I mean, this movie has been talked about to death, books, documentaries. I mean, it's just like everybody's got their own perspective on it, and But hey, you're cool if we did a little rapid fire.
Rapid fire?
Yeah.
Okay. What's that?
Yeah,
What do you want?
so we always end our interviews with just rapid fire. I'm just going to ask you some questions. I geared them towards The Exorcist a little bit and that franchise, but it's just a bam, 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 right? I'm just going to ask you some questions. You give some quick answers.
Is it like yes or no?
Yeah, it could be yes or no. It could be You know,
Okay. It's like,
yeah.
well, I can't tell you.
Yeah, we do this with all of our interviews. So here we go.
I'll ask Reagan if it's okay to
Yeah,
answer.
listen,
Sometimes
bring
she
her
says
in, man.
no.
This show's all about her anyway, so she might as well fucking join in the fun. Okay, so here we go.
Okay.
Do you think Reagan is a horror icon comparable to all the other horror villains that get all that praise? Do you think
No,
she's up
because
there?
because she's possessed.
Okay.
It's more so. It's like it's like she's a victim. Why would you want to make her a horror icon?
Well, just from the horror lens.
I mean, from the inside she might be.
Yeah.
That's about it.
I meant
The
like from the
outside, nah.
horror movie lens, right? When you look at Freddy, Jason, and Leatherface, and all these horror icons, is Reagan from The Exorcist in that?
Honestly, I wouldn't put her up there because it's like she's not conscious of what she's doing in a way. I mean, it's not her. It's Pazuzu. But then it's kind of like that. Maybe it's a gray area. How about that?
Okay.
We'll
gray.
call it the gray area.
We'll take gray area.
I wouldn't mind seeing her on like that Terror Drome game. That would be kind of neat. I don't know if you remember that.
I do. Yeah. So
I don't know what she'd do. Maybe just vomit on the guy. What?
Yeah. Well, she'll levitate some shit, fling it at him.
Throw Chucky.
So favorite sequel to The Exorcist? What's your favorite sequel?
I don't have one.
Okay.
Okay. The only thing I could say is I hate to say it, I like Exorcist 2 in a way, but not as a sequel.
Okay.
And then anything trying to be a sequel, no.
Yeah. I mean, I loved Exorcist 3. I mean, I thought
I think I'd watch the heckling before I'd watch Believer again. I don't know if you know the heckling. Have you seen the heckling?
I've never seen the heckling.
Linda
no.
Blair was in it. She plays the mom and the possessed girl.
Oh,
and
okay.
the girl, and it's a parody, so it's like it's on YouTube. You can find it on YouTube.
The heckling.
And
okay.
yeah, I think they might have did it in the 80s or 90s or something like that.
Interesting.
But she's not possessed by demons. She's possessed by comedians.
Oh shit.
Or something like that.
That's great.
Something weird like that.
I gotta try to get repossessed now. Like you bringing that up before, it's like I gotta find a way to say I haven't seen that in a long time. But all right, so what's your favorite quote in the movie?
My favorite quote? I can tell you my favorite scene, but I can't.
Let's do the favorite scene because the favorite scene is next.
Okay, I'd have to really think about a favorite quote. Yeah, I don't know if I have one. I really would have to think about it. There's nothing that really plays in my head when it comes to The Exorcist, except for what it is. I really don't know.
See, I love when she's interacting with Father Karras and he asks her the question. She says, "Until she rots and lies stinking in the earth." That always stuck with me when she says, like, how long do you plan on staying in her? So that's pretty powerful. Yeah, she's gonna rot and die.
There might be an odd one, but this one usually comes to mind. It's the part where Karras is talking to Chris after he's first seen Reagan, and he goes on talking about I might misquote it a little bit, and apparently this was improvised that where he says, "You've asked me what I think is best for your daughter.
Yeah.
6 months under observation in the best hospital you can find."
Yeah. Look at that. Word for word, my friend.
So yeah, that one usually sticks. Mostly because I think, if I remember it was pretty much improvised by Jason Miller. On that
Okay.
I guess he was uncomfortable with whatever was said. He just went with how he would say it,
and in that same
a more
scene,
natural
with
effect.
Chris saying, I know that thing upstairs is not my daughter, right? That was a pretty cool one as well. So, okay, Spider Walk
Friedkin
scene.
must have really beat her into submission for that kind of emotion, right? Something like that. How many gunshots did that take?
Yeah, Spider Walk scene. Love it or hate it. The Spider Walk scene.
It was okay.
Okay.
It was okay. I could live without it. I mean, in the book, it doesn't really come down the steps, and it's actually 6 hours later, after everything that had happened.
Okay.
So it was like early morning or something like that. She's following. She must have come out of her meds and then started following Sharon around.
Sharon, yeah. So, first piece of Exorcist merch that you purchased, what was it? What was your first piece?
A statue. I've got a
Okay.
statue that I still haven't put together because I have this fear of really messing it up if I try to paint it. And
Oh, you got to
the
paint it
box
too?
cover was, yeah, it's one of those like resins.
Oh
And
yeah,
before
yeah.
we had the 3D printing stuff, it was
You got
sculpted.
you got it on video anywhere? Do you show it in one of your
Um, yeah, I do. It's probably in one of my gift ones because I
Okay.
panned down a shelf and next to my Exorcist Vans, the shoes, and then there's a something else sitting next to it, and in front of that, I don't know if I had it. It's an 8-track of the soundtrack of The Exorcist. There's a white box, and it's got Reagan's face on it, and on the box itself, it says "so realistic you can almost smell her."
Oh,
That's what's marked on it. I mean, when I bought it, it was years back, and I had it in a closet, and it was right in front of my bed. And so, like you open your eyes, you're looking right at the box, and you see this illustration staring back at you. I had to like get up and turn it around, so it's like facing the walls. Like, it just was too much bothering me. I thought she was going to crawl out of the box, and
yeah.
seen too
Dude,
many scary movies.
dude, I love you. I love the fact you said you had an 8-track, man. I remember those
Yeah,
days.
I had to
8-track,
get an
man.
8-track. You
You
can
had
get them
that
on CD, you can get
Roadrunner
them on record.
fucking
God, I have
detonator
the
thing that you
8-track.
had.
God, now I just got to locate a good 8-track player.
Yeah, you remember those 8-track players? They look like those
Yeah, I
fucking
used to love
Roadrunner
those
detonators.
things. I had a setup. It was in my stereo, and that little noise it would make when it changed the tracks on it. You hear that
Yep, yep.
that noise. Yeah, I miss that noise. I
Yeah,
used to
yeah.
love 8-tracks.
I miss those days, man. All right, so what is the one word you would use if someone said to describe The Exorcist to you?
Shocking.
Okay, okay. Exorcist Dominion or Exorcist Beginning?
I always get those two confused,
I think Paul
and
Schrader
I
did.
didn't really care for either one of them.
Yeah, no, nor did I.
I can't
Nor did
choose
I.
either one.
Yeah, me too. Me too. I thought they both were.
I can't remember.
Shit.
Do you remember? Are you familiar with Berserk, the
Berserk.
anime and the manga?
No, no.
Okay. Okay. Well, that didn't go anywhere. I can't really give that example unless you actually
I'll
seen
check
that.
it out though. I'll look it up.
But
Berserk.
yeah, I just didn't like the way it connected. Part of me thinks that somebody was listening to Exorcist 2 and ran with it with the kite string, the whole 40 years earlier thing, which it didn't in the first film.
Yeah.
I think it was Tom Birmingham said it was about 10 or 12 years. So I don't know where they came up with 40 years. I don't think John Borman bothered to watch the film. It seems like a lot of stuff seems to try to connect that whole, going to Africa and meeting Pazuzu through the possessed child of some
James
sort,
Earl
or
Jones.
something like that. Yeah. You want to talk about scary? When I was a
Look.
kid, I first saw James Earl Jones on Sesame Street, and he was doing the alphabet.
Holy shit.
And so he's like wearing a white turtleneck, I think, and he's looking into the camera. And he's
His
just got
voice,
this intense
man.
look on his A,
Yeah.
E. And I was like, who is this? He's scaring me, So yeah, I can't pick either one.
Okay. Okay.
I'll probably cover it and say no. I'll be covered in review one day soon.
Yeah.
I hope maybe either this year or next year, depending on whether I get this whole miniseries thing done. I've been working on that video for 2 years now.
Okay.
And every time it's like it just doesn't sound right. It doesn't sound. I'm not approaching this the way I want to approach it, because when I write it, it jumps back and forth.
Yeah.
The only thing I can think of doing is possibly just going from one end of the script to the other, and it almost focuses the way that it's written. It's almost like I don't know if you've seen The Changeling with George C. Scott.
Oh, love The Changeling.
Do you know those
man.
first
Love The
person
Changeling.
shots? Do you remember those first person shots of the ghost when it goes out of it goes from room to room down the hallways?
Yeah.
There are shots like that described in the script, and usually they're coming out of the basement. There's a closet in the basement that opens up a little bit. So there's a little bit more supernatural in the miniseries than there would have been like in the film.
Oh, wow.
Because I guess in the film you're supposed to be like, is it really happening? Is it psychological? It's more set toward the supernatural side.
Yeah.
And there's two things that I had done. Maybe one of them was actually a video that I did for the miniseries where Burke and Chris are talking, and I did AI again to try to do their voices. The Burke Dennings wasn't too bad. I had to kind of I found a sample of his voice when he was younger, so I had to tone it down a bit to kind of give it some gruff and some age. And so there's a scene that sticks out from the miniseries, and they were trying to, and it almost feels like it was forced to try to become more closer to the day. It would probably have done well maybe in the early 2000s, but I don't think it would fly now.
Sure.
Somebody would have to do some tweaking. But so Chris McNeil is a coach, I guess, some kind of coach of something. I forget how it went, but she didn't like the script, like in the film. But in this case, it had to do with the singing. They're singing rap at the school, the Jesuit school. So that's the issue she has with it. So it's just that scene. But it took a long time to do like the illustrations part, because I do everything pretty much from scratch.
Yeah. And it's the scene with Burke, right? With Burke Dennings.
Yeah.
Yeah. I caught that one. I just watched that one recently. Your little your video there on the miniseries.
But that's straight from the mini. I try to get as close as I possibly could on the shots, on everything that was happening in the script. That's right off the script.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
I probably won't be doing that.
Well,
for my miniseries video, and it probably will end up being like in 4 parts, because this thing's going to go on and on and on and on. Hopefully it won't be too much.
Yeah,
but
it'd be cool, like you said, to continue working on what transpired when Damien left the room, until he comes back up and Merrin's dead, and she's over there giggling.
Right. There's a little bit said when it comes to, like, how people always ask, well, why did Burke Dennings end up in Reagan's room? There is a shot where he's browsing the bookshelves, and I think he picks up the book on witchcraft, and then he hears a giggling upstairs, and then he kind of goes up and investigates. Everything goes dark, and then that's it.
I wish they would have showed that, man. That would have been fucking. Now that you said like the
no,
giggling.
You know what? It's like, this goes back to another conversation. If Lucio Fulci had done The Exorcist, and I was like, that would have been great. I wish somebody would do that.
Yeah.
Because I try to do it like a parody of it a little bit. What it would kind of look like, and in the beginning, and I was just taking pieces from his other stuff and maybe some Argenti stuff.
Yeah.
But had Fulci done The Exorcist, I think we would have seen the whole Dennings thing happen. He probably would have had Reagan gouge out his eyes.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And then twist his head around and then throw him out the.
It's
there was no guesswork or anything like that.
It's funny you bring up Fulci, because he would have definitely had fucking eye trauma.
Eyeballs,
right? Everything is eye trauma with Fulci. But we're in the middle of covering the Gates of Hell trilogy for the show. Okay. So we recorded already. We did City of the Living Dead. We just recorded The Beyond. That is dropping if it hasn't dropped already. And then we're going to do House by the Cemetery. So those 3 movies
House
that
by
make
the
up
Cemetery,
the Gates.
I love that one.
Yeah,
I can't
that little
stand
boy
the kid.
though. Oh my God,
I can't stand the kid.
The titty biter.
One
the titty
scene
biter.
One scene I like from that film is the one where she hears the crying and everything's rattling around in the kitchen, and then she freaks out.
Yeah,
I thought that was well done.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of City of the Living Dead, though. I love any time you have, a girl that her eyes start to bleed and then she starts to vomit all of her internal organs. Sign me the fuck up.
Oh God, yeah, I know. How do you put that in The Exorcist? Dude, put that in The Exorcist, where she's puking up her lungs and her intestines.
Do a variant from the pea
soup.
It'll
be all over Father Karras.
Yeah, let Eileen spew out her internal organs in Karras' face.
God.
Let's go
overboard. She's twisting inside out, literally. She's turning inside out, literally.
Oh, man,
I think you asked me real quick. You asked me my favorite scene in The Exorcist. Yes. It might be a one that you probably wouldn't think I would say. It's the scene after they went through the whole first portion of the exorcism, and then Merrin, Karras is sitting off on the side, looking off the side, breathing. And he hears Merrin say, "Let's rest before we get started again." And the camera's closing in on Father Karras, and he's got that look on his face, like, what did I just see? What did I just go through here? And you're listening in the sound, and you hear Reagan breathing, and then it's overtaken by Karras's own breathing. I thought that was pretty cool. Yeah. That's my favorite. Anytime I think about that, I was like, wow.
Yeah.
Because it's suddenly the focus, you got more of a focus on his breathing. It just kind of trades off.
Yeah. Speaking of scenes, when you talk about the scene at the hospital, right? What was it? The CAT scan or the MRI, whatever she was going through, old school machinery, right? Where it's like loud noises. A lot of people said they fainted during that scene, right? It was just like they couldn't take that scene, but
I know it was that. What was the arteriogram?
the
I think was what.
arteriogram, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. And then you
that
had the
one because
actual
it was.
fucking serial killer that was the doctor there.
Well, right, but you were actually in a doctor's
Yeah,
environment
exactly.
and
Yeah,
having doctors do the things. Like, how do
yeah,
you fake that? It's even like when Freakin said about the priest talking, and he said, you can't fake this kind of piety.
yeah, yeah.
So it's like using the real setups in real places really worked out.
Yeah.
Even I found out this yesterday reading an article. I've been looking into, I think her name's Frances, was it Frances Mahoney? I got the book floating around here.
Mahoney from Police Academy?
No, she was the owner of the house, 3600 Prospect Street.
Oh, all right.
She was the owner, and I think she's already passed on, so that kind of sucks. I wish I could have talked to her. She was real big in the political scene. She'd have politicians over for like dinner, and they discuss stuff. So there's a lot of stuff going on in that house. And so I think it was Mike that told me that they were allowed to go in and take pictures of the house so they could build the sets for in New York, because they could only do the outside shots, along with that extension that they put on the house to make it, get it closer to the steps. But I read in this article, I want to say it was the Washington Post. I can't remember exactly. Came out in the 80s. It was one of those covering like Hollywood and Washington area, Washington, D.C. and Georgetown. And apparently the one of the rooms that was used for the party scene was actually modeled after a room in another house down the street from the Prospect Street on O Street. I think it was the 3400. It belonged to a senator, and I guess he wasn't keen on having cameras set up because originally they were going to do the shots in his house or try to get to do it in his house. So that didn't pan out. So they just kind of built a model of that room there back in New York. And I thought that was interesting.
Yeah.
I've been trying to figure out who the senator was. I haven't come across any information on that yet.
Interesting. Well, hey, Daerth, I just want to thank you, man. I appreciate you coming on the show, man. I love this conversation. Just talking about this iconic movie, man. Like I said, I love The Exorcist. I could talk about it for days, but I appreciate it. Go ahead and promote whatever you want to promote. Your channel. Where can listeners find you?
Oh, well, YouTube Exorcist reviews. You might take a little looking because once you type that in, you're going to get everything that says Exorcist review on it. But you should be able to find my channel. It's got the red Pazuzu statuette head with the little board around it.
Yes, sir. But yeah, man, listen, I appreciate it. I hope your listeners, I know, you got a lot of Exorcist diehards that are part of your channel there, and I hope they enjoy this little mashup. I had a great time. Love to have you back on. Maybe when when you do the I'll be looking forward to the unboxing. But maybe when you do when the other movie comes out, we can certainly kind of collaborate again. But anytime you want to talk The Exorcist, whether it's 2, 3, whatever, give me a shout, man. I'll jump on.
Well, you never know. I'll probably pull you in on my channel.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I would love it.
I'll just send you a link, and it should just work out. You don't need to sign up for anything.
Absolutely. Whenever you want to collaborate, man. I really enjoyed this time.
Awesome.
And I enjoy your content, the time. Man.
If you haven't seen it, the 2 shorts that I recommend are my top 5s when it comes to books and periodicals. They have some great information in there.
Okay.
And I highly recommend them if you haven't seen it yet. So
absolutely, like I said, I'm learning a lot, man. Very informative. All the content that you're putting on your channel. So
also make sure to check out that Father Phantom Studios video.
Yes, I'm definitely going.
It's like an hour long, but
definitely going.
I went back and I edited a bunch of imagery, and then we kind of worked off an image set. What I did was with I don't know if you can do this on Zoom, but the StreamYard, you can throw in like another whatnot to like flash like images or bring up another screen and then put that in there. And so we kind of worked off that, but then I went back and I kind of cleaned it up in post. So it works out pretty well. It's pretty informative. That's what I try to do on my channel. If there's anything that I try to cover, I pretty much try to cover anything that you haven't heard, because it's like, we've like I brought up before, 10 things that you didn't know about the people have heard this stuff already.
Yeah, I mean,
I try to dig for the stuff that you haven't heard.
Exactly.
Yeah, and so it's like that's why I try to get into the old periodicals, and I try looking stuff up. I got to make sure that I don't got this wrong, so I'm always throwing the according to this or according to that. Like, you want to kind of cite your source on that because sometimes they're wrong. Like, oh yeah, they filmed it at the tombs. I was told this. No,
like I said, there's so much out there on this movie, but again, the fact that I went over to your channel and I watched some of your videos and I learned some things, right, that I didn't know, tells me that you're doing it the right way. So I appreciate it. And again, vice versa. A lot of our listeners are Exorcist fans. I'm gonna turn them right over to your channel. And if your listeners are into just horror in general, right? What an excellent day for a podcast. We do a lot of that. We just we get a lot of interviews. We just had Courtney Gaines on from Malachi from Children of the Corn, right? So yeah, if you're into that, definitely.
God, that's crazy.
Yeah, you got. He's great though.
I wish I could have been on there with you.
Oh man, it's like, he's great. He's a musician too, man.
What was it? Terror Threads. Have you ever been on their website?
Threads.
I've got the Children of the Corn T-shirt with Malachi on the front.
Yeah.
And then I had to get the Isaac one too. So I almost wore it, but I said, no, we're supposed to be talking about Exorcist. And I was a big fan of that Outlander.
Oh man, I made him say that. I said, dude, there's two things I need you to say. You got to say Outlander, and you got to say, because I'm a Can't Buy Me Love fan. I said, you got to say, you shit on my house.
That really messes my brain up because, like, okay, he's like really effective, like as Malachi, but then you see him as this nerdy guy on Can't Buy Me Love. That's one of my favorite movies too.
He was great. We had Dee Wallace on too. Dee with the mom from ET.
He's trying to play the video games while Patrick Dempsey's talking at him.
Yeah, you shit on my house. We had Dee Wallace on too, who mom from Cujo and ET and all that, and she's a life coach now. She's absolutely amazing, Daerth. She's such a positive, like, to talk to her is just to feel good about yourself. She's like, she just brings that positive aura. You can't help but feel good when you're talking to her. So but yeah, hey, listen, thank you again, man. I appreciate it. I'm gonna be looking out for more of your videos, and anytime you want me on your show, man, I'd love to kind of pop in.
I'll definitely hit you up. Also, if you're doing any Zooms or anything like videos, let me know and see if maybe I can pop on, especially if you're talking like other horror. There's something I would like to bring up is like if there are any horror films that you'd want to see remade.
Oh, there's a, hey, listen, anytime you want to do a show, man, just hit me up on Instagram and just say, hey, let's talk about this, and we'll jump on and talk about it, man.
Yeah, but if you got like a crowd on your side, let me join in with your crowd.
And vice versa. Like I said, we're trying to build our channel here, and we're just starting out. So I appreciate it, and I thank your listeners as well if they jump over and take a listen to what we got going on.
Oh, definitely,
too, so.
Especially if I can grab you up on my side, and then we can promote your channel on that.
Absolutely.
So that works out real well.
I appreciate it.
I'm big on that. That's awesome.
I appreciate that, buddy. Well, hey, listen. Love it, man. Thank you so much. All the best to you, and we will. I feel you and I will be talking some damn horror, and maybe separate from The Exorcist, but maybe we'll be revisiting one of our. We'll go back in the day and look at that '80s decade and see if we could pull something out there that we want to talk about.
I got one right in particular, but it's one of those that are so campy and whatnot that we really want to remake it.
What's that?
Basket Case.
Oh yeah, Basket Case needs to be.
It's so puppetry and whatnot, but it's like
fucking Belial, bad, man.
But it's good. And the acting, I just can't see anybody remaking this with it. Just kind of lose that bit of it.
That scene with Belial on the girl, the naked girl with Belial. Oh man. Yeah,
some of the acting in that, especially when what was that? When I forgot the kid's name. He's carrying the basket and he's trying to get a room at that hotel, and the guy behind him is like doing this company.
Oh yeah.
What was that? A first take?
And and you know what I love about Basket Case? I love that that was old school New York City too, man. That was when New York City was kind of still that. You know, you had your fucking, you know, your little 25-cent peep show fucking
Oh
things
yeah,
on Times Square. That was the sleazy,
yeah,
grimy New York City that I love.
yeah,
So,
definitely.
but
Then there's the what is it? The Gumby animation.
there comes the animation. I love it. I love it. All right, Daerth. Well, appreciate it, man. Thank you again. All the
All
best
right.
to you, and we'll definitely hook up. I appreciate you, man.
Yeah, I definitely be calling you up on my channel.
I'll show.
Get that going.
We'll get it. We'll
Figure
get
something
really
out.
up close and personal on the arm on the
Sure.
channel. All
Yep. Yep.
right,
All
Daerth.
right.
Take care,
Sounds
buddy.
good.
All right.
Appreciate it.
Take care. Bye bye.
Bye.
Listening to What an Excellent Day for a Podcast, where we use the number 4 to save you time. Check out our entire catalog at excellentdayforapodcast.com. Also on Spotify, Apple, Amazon, Audible, and everywhere else you listen to podcasts. Have a question? Email us at excellentdayforapodcast@gmail.com.
But guys, I want to interact on social media.
Excellent.
See what we did there?
Follow us on Twitter at ExcellentDay4A. Otherwise, search for What an Excellent Day for a Podcast to get our Facebook page, our group page, Instagram, YouTube, and our newly launched Twitch channel. Come say hello, share them all,